are segmented, ready, juiced up, keen for some Path of Exile racing action. Shall we proceed as if nothing is wrong, right? So welcome back for a very exciting day of PoE Esports, regardless of how fractional we're feeling this morning. We are very excited for some Path of Exile racing action, and it's a very mysterious and interesting day. This is the first of 4 EXILECON qualifiers. This is the race of all races. Oh, we're back. We're so back. Excellent. This is the first of 4 EXILECON qualifiers. That means the winner, the fastest overall. This is not like the previous seasons of racing, which have been very fun. But the winner of this race gets flown Ultra VIP to EXILECON to participate on the stage for the grand finale for some Path of Exile racing there at EXILECON. It is the race of all races. So these qualifiers they're a little bit important, and the racers have taken on a decidedly different tone than they have in preparation for previous seasons of racing, where it was all la-di-da, everyone holding hands and skipping around and like helping each other and everything. No, that has taken a turn. Racers are being very try-hard right now and very secretive. In fact, Rise, you were telling me that there was like a dummy VOD or something someone put up?
Yeah, people are putting up dummy VODs so that the other players have a worse idea of how another class is actually playing because, well, if we cut to the chase a little bit, it's going to be a big Chinese Twister game versus the everybody else grenades on a mercenary.
We see some interesting divisions and strategies here. I could get like one person to show me their strategy. That's about it. No one would even though I'm like, I'll keep it all secret. I won't tell anyone stuff. But I could get like one person to show me their strategy. So we're going in a little blind this time. But what I have heard musings and rumblings about, there's a big push towards Huntress Twister action, especially from the Chinese Path of Exile community. And for, like you said, everyone else, we're going to see probably a lot of very refined, maybe some different takes on Grenade Mercenary. And I've seen some very, very interesting, like we're seeing Mercs using talismans and shields and bows in addition to crossbows. So there's a lot like really taking advantage of everything to try and get an edge here. And it's right. It's gonna be a very exciting race because who knows what we're going to see ultimately.
If you've been following some of the previous seasons of PoE Racing, in general, there were a lot of different classes and they used a lot of different builds. And especially last season, a lot of that kind of came together into Druid, where they were pulling from all these different strategies, swapping out weapons throughout the race, really changing things up. But now it seems like people have kind of focused in on Huntress and the Mercenary, but they are still using all of these different strategies and trying to min-max as much as possible in that sense. So it is pretty cool, and there's also going to be a lot of things that we haven't seen previously that, yeah, some players have been sharing with me, but they're always like, yeah, don't tell this other group of people, and don't tell those guys, don't tell anybody. But listen, please, it's going to improve the cast. If I, yeah, it's been like Ziggy mentioned, it's been a whole thing.
It is certainly going to be very exciting just to see what even people are playing. Like, I can see him in game now, so I know what he's playing, but Angormus wouldn't even tell me what class he was playing. He sent me a very cryptic message like 2 days ago, being like, there's going to be an interesting race, Ziggy. I'm like, you can't do that to me. Tell me things. I need to know stuff. And he's like, you'll see. I was like, tell me what class you're going to play at least. And he's like, I guess you'll see. And then this morning he sends me a frog in a like martial artist outfit spinning around. So I'm the only thing I'm like, are you playing Leap Slam Monk? Like, what is this supposed to tell me?
I do have a pretty good idea, I think, what Angormus is going to be doing.
Your theory
but
on that,
I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, okay. We'll circle back to that. But Angormus is obviously a lot of people's top favorite to get a qualifying spot. Angormus, the Warrior King, has, I think, the fastest time in like 5 of the 8 races that he's participated in for the actual races, if not more. And pretty much only like not winning Warrior when he didn't show up. But for that one race when he was working. Otherwise, absolute dominance. But quite possibly a class swap for Angormus is a big shakeup for him. So is it that Angormus is only the warrior king, or can Angormus be the king overall, right? Whether he's just the best player, still unresolved. We have Guy That Dies, who recently took the fastest record ever for any race in Season 4 on the Mercenary, and has been practicing like crazy, and I got to see some little insights into that, and some very interesting Mercenary tech, and players are even holding things back. I got Guy That Dies telling me that, like, oh, he might not use all of his strategies in the first qualifier because, you know, if he qualifies in the first qualifier, he doesn't want to spoil his secret strategies that he could use at ExileCon. So,
man, if with people being so secret, and now I'm starting to think that maybe people did the thing where they gave me the wrong information to see who's the one spoiling it, and maybe I know things that aren't actually going to happen.
You're getting baited to see if you're leaking strategies. I mean, yeah. I wouldn't put it past any of them at this point for this one, because yeah, it's like I said, it's a completely different community all of a sudden when ExileCon qualifiers are on the race. Everyone wants to go to ExileCon. You can't really blame them, and we are here for it. We want to see it as well. We're going to have a lot of other people that we're going to be keeping very close eye on as well. I've heard word that Woodish is coming over from the Last Epoch community, who was a very good racer over there, and is apparently taking the Path of Exile, despite being completely new, seen by storm. So I don't know if we're going to see them today. That could be very interesting. Jiluwu, who was just dominating on the Witch and almost beating Mercenaries on the Witch, which was crazy, has done a last-minute swap to Huntress for the Twister tech. Also, I've heard. We'll see. That's someone to keep an eye on for sure as well. Li Dong, who was like dominant on the Druid. Will they have refined a Druid strategy or maybe swapped over to Huntress? Who knows what we're going to see here.
As far as I understand, pretty much all of the Chinese players are just set on Twister and they're going crazy. And as much as you're saying last minute, and we're kind of, talking about how all of these players are swapping over and finally min-maxing the final strategy. Yeah, they've been practicing for a long time. It's been like at least a month, and for in some cases 2, of just like non-stop grind, trying to figure out layouts. I know about multiple hidden discords from other people where they practice layouts and talk about all these different strategies and approaches. It is truly crazy to what extent people have been going.
We're going to swap over to our races now to get us ready on the mark, as the race is about to start in 1 minute. For this race, it is I guess what we'd call like a semi-hardcore. It's not actual hardcore. If they die, they get a 2.5 minute death penalty, which is a huge penalty and absolutely something that they will try to avoid. But we're almost certain to see deaths because normally we were seeing multiple deaths from even the best racers in some cases, but especially now because the play for ExileCon qualifiers is absolutely to be as aggressive as possible. So we're going to see people like, if they feel like they have enough of an edge, pushing through under-leveled. I got to see Guy That Dies testing that yesterday, and Guy That Dies was even saying like, oh, I've got about a 50% chance of dying, I think, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen on Tavakai. And he was grinding Tavakai kills, and he got like 3 Tavakais deathless in a row, and he was like, yes, okay, cool, I'm on fine form. But, you know, before that, there was like 3 deaths in a row, so we'll...
Just by the way, that's the safe strategy. That's mercenary.
Yes.
It is completely different on a Huntress. On a Huntress, you are melee, you have to rely on parry, you have to get armor items, you have to get life items to try and not instantly get stunned by any parried attack. It is crazy, and as we start things off...
Yeah, here we go. It is time. Excellent. We're going to start to get a little bit of a look at who is on screen that we're going to be checking out here to begin with. And we have in the top left, Angormus, the Warrior King, now on a Mercenary. Oh, I can't help but feel a little sad. I thought there was like you have to converge on whatever you think is going to be the most competitive thing for ExileCon, obviously. But part of me still held out hope that he might go Warrior. But,
I was ranting about this last season. It was so weird to me that people wouldn't switch to like the most powerful strategy. And honestly, who knows? Maybe Warrior is still most powerful. If people died 10 times, Warrior wouldn't have that problem. He would be using a shield. So as we head on over to the first boss, Guy That Dies, already unleashing a barrage of abilities on him.
I want to tell you about a tech
different approaches.
I want to watch Guy That Dies especially, because you can reload the default attack by unequipping and re-equipping your crossbow. It only works on the default attack, but you see how he doesn't actually have to reload because
Oh, right, yeah.
he's using that little inventory juggle to reload those basic shots. So he's using the fragmentation rounds to like clear up zombies there at the same time as well. But when he's focused on that single target, and I don't know if other people know about that one. But Guy That Dies was telling me about that one
I haven't seen it
specifically.
from Angormus.
So,
Angormus wasn't doing it.
You know, it's a 1 or 2 second save there, maybe, but Guy That Dies does indeed seem to get through there, kill a little bit faster. Oh, no white talisman for Guy That Dies. Unfortunate. I don't know if we saw one for... Well, we did see one for Angormus, so Angormus did get one. So there's for 33 gold, you can pick up that white talisman, and that's a really big deal in the early game here because that allows them to swap to wolf form for just running around to get that bonus movement speed. And it's safe too. You can be like nearly sprinting, but not get knocked over. So that's a really important thing. But Guy That Dies will be looking for a talisman now.
As far as I understand, it is slightly faster, and most importantly, it is safer. You're not just pouncing around every now and then eventually, but by just using the dodge in the wolf form, I think sprinting is 150 speed. Ooh, Guy That Dies! Almost dies to that first league mechanic. You have to do this league mechanic to get through this zone, and league mechanic is going to be a big deal for this race overall, especially on the Huntresses. A lot of her strategy, especially in regards to XP gain, is tied to the league mechanic, and then there's also some really important guaranteed rewards that our players are going to be going for. But this first encounter especially, very dangerous, and Guy That Dies, those, once again, 2.5 minutes would be a massive problem for him this early in the stage, especially since he is playing the safer strategy. He manages to get through it as Angormus, Shekel Coach, and Jiluo successfully get past that encounter as well.
Yeah, like you were saying, the league mechanic is going to be very important here because there's a lot of extra gems, support gems, currency that are all guaranteed throughout the campaign. And even more than that, players are looking for some interesting edges here where they can get things like runes that give dodge roll range on boots, for example. If they pick up some of those are a huge deal. Now, interesting little strategy here. You'll notice that Guy That Dies did it like a drive-by grenading of Bira. You can drop a cycle of grenades on her, go and grab the checkpoint, and then checkpoint back to her and finish her off later once your grenades are off cooldown, right? Because they know this zone's the layout so well that they can do this sort of like drive-by Bira grenading and then come back and finish her off, and all the wolves have been chased away, and you're kind of like, you're ready to go. Your grenades are off cooldown, so you can get another like fairly optimal damage cycle there. So I just thought that was like a really cute little extra strategy. I was very confused the first time I saw that. I was like, what are you doing? You forgot to kill Bira.
A lot of times you're going to be seeing players also reset a checkpoint to reset the monsters that are chasing them as well. So this is really cool because it kind of prevents you from having to do that, on top of gaining a little bit of XP. And yeah, Guy That Dies definitely, with that little hiccup at the start, he's going to need all the help that he can get. And also, speaking of layouts, just a friendly reminder for anybody is that we are having a fixed seed layout, meaning that everybody has the same zones, they have the same boxes, and they have the same shrines as well. The monsters aren't the same, and obviously the spawns from the boxes or the rolls on them can differ, but for the most part, we're trying to balance things out as much as possible, as already Angormus is in the Red Veil, and he's going to be clicking those weapon racks, trying to find the next tier of weapons, something really important as he gets chunked over by these archers. Yeah, our players are trying to get level 5 in these zones, but at the same time, they're trying to get through them as quickly as possible. This is one of the more difficult zones, as we've already managed to skip over the first major event, or I guess second after the witch, which is another witch that they had to kill for the flasks and also for our support gems. And depending on what kind of events our players are going to be finding, they're going to have to do more or less of them for those additional support gems that are going to be so impactful throughout this run.
Angormus, once again, proving to be on fine form, just being so fast in the early game, having a little bit of reset there as he gets stuck, but it was pretty much an optimal place to reset anyway. But yeah, it's just still like, despite swapping to Mercenary, is currently leading the pack into the Red Veil. Like you said, Red Veil's pretty important. There's these weapon piles everywhere that you can search, and they have a guaranteed tier 2 of every weapon type there, every martial weapon type at least. And something that a lot of the mercenaries are going to be looking for, in particular, a guy that dies, for example, is a short bow there, as that can get them set up to do escape shot. Although they do also have to look for a level 2+ skill gem for that as well, so that they have enough to be able to do that and get flash grenade and not have to kind of like make any sacrifices there.
Right.
Escape shot is a big thing for navigating a lot of the getting body blocked by packs, and it's the most powerful escape skill. As we even saw a bug fix yesterday that players were able to escape even some boss arenas using escape shot. So it's particularly good as an escape skill, but that one thankfully has been bug fixed in time for the race.
Yep, correct. And as players are approaching the different pillars, they're also dealing with the league mechanic, trying to get that extra XP. You can already see a different focus on the sort of XP that our players are trying to get between the Twister and the grenades. And Gorm is already fighting the Rust King. There's some interesting positioning that you can do with Twister that hopefully we're going to be seeing from Jiluo if he gets the layout for it. When it comes to grenades, you're just trying to not get surrounded, as that delay is a little bit pesky on those nades, but a tremendous amount of damage coming out from Angormus, and his Rust King is almost dead, as Jiluo, yeah, with the Whirling Slashes being a little bit of a slower start, which allows Guided Dice to catch up quite a bit, and Shackle Coach trying to hang in there with the league mechanic dropping a support gem for him. Here we go.
Twister Huntress is a new strategy for the racing scene this time around, as we previously have seen them going for a more conventional kind of like parry explosive spear combo.
Okay, but here we go. Can he find an angle here? I don't believe so. Okay, so what you can do on a Huntress is that these little bridges that are in this zone, you can pull the boss over to a bridge like that and allow yourself to essentially shotgun. I mean, it's not really shotgunning, but hit the boss multiple times with the Twister. It can only hit every 0.66 of a second, but if you position the boss right, it really allows you to do a tremendous amount of single target. His layout was pretty okay, but you can get a better one. And yeah, these are the sort of tricks that you're going to have to be using with the Twister, especially in the latter portions of the game where the boss fights ramp up, to really allow yourself to get through the game as quickly as possible. And the cool part about Twister is that it's kind of OP. It does a lot of damage. You don't really need a strong weapon, which is a big RNG factor for the crossbows. They are going to be struggling with their weapon. For Huntress, you kind of just want attack speed on the fast attack speed weapon for your Whirling Slash, and whatever else you can get, it's great, but it's not necessary. Crossbows don't have that quality.
Yeah, I'm already surprised by how much damage it does here at the early game, that it's like comparable to the grenades on the boss there. Now, you may notice as the players do this little Grim Tangle section here that you can skip the waiting for the vines. If you just dodge roll over to the checkpoint, you can then run through the vines before she finishes singing, and you can just kind of phase through those. There's actually been another skip like that discovered later that I'm excited to show you guys, because it was something that was previously thought unskippable, but we'll save that for later for Act 4.
Yeah, there's a lot of new skips in Act 4 for sure. Many things that people have been experimenting with, and it's been really bringing those race times down, as yeah, we've seen personal bests from multiple people below 2 hours. So it's kind of the expected outcome here, but it's always different when it's a personal best versus a race with a lot of pressure on the line. Some players skipping the boss fight. Some players are going to have to deal with it. This just depends on whether or not you have those additional support gems, or whether you're banking on doing some more events in the next zones.
It looks like we might be shuffling a few people around just to check in on some people that might be taking the lead in certain areas. We'll get that up in just a moment here as we see the names repopulate, but it looks like Angormus is still potentially leading the charge. Although, wait, okay, Freeing Sin from Tree of Souls, we just got an update. Mostly Works has actually taken the lead on that. I'm Exile in fine form. Whole New Society, then Angormus, then Luxian. So we've got a little bit of a shake-up in the very early progression here. You love to see
Yeah,
it.
I feel like we haven't highlighted Exile enough. This is somebody that a lot of people must be familiar with, as he was at the previous ExileCon for PoE 1. He ended
Yep.
up taking second place due to some unfortunate chance orb mishap, but a super prominent player. Everybody's familiar with him. And yeah, he started racing in PoE 2, and already being the second place, he's showing that the early game dominance begins immediately.
So absolutely, I'm Exile, a storied legend of Path of Exile racing, but not necessarily as experienced in the Path of Exile 2
Oh,
racing
here we
scene as
go.
some of our current
He did
winners.
get the Iron Ring. Nice.
Very nice.
So in the cemetery, you get a 50%
Physical
chance to drop
damage
a.
roll too on the craft.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, because that's something that we haven't really talked about. Players aren't just focusing on weapons. They're trying to get gloves, they're trying to get rings. All of these things can get additional damage, and it will make a big difference. There's also attack speed involved in that. For crossbows, it definitely helps, but it's a much bigger deal for the Huntress, as it allows you to get those whirling slashes out as quickly as possible, which then enables your big twister. And that's also a big thing that we're going to be seeing eventually. As yeah, we did swap around quite a
Oh,
lot. We've got the Druid on the screen now from Mostly
yes,
Works in the
I
top
was
right.
excited to see this. Mostly Works playing the Druid because last season we were speculating that like Druid being a newcomer just didn't have enough time to be sold before the races last time. People were starting to use some of its tech on the other classes, and Druid
Mm-hmm.
was, some people were saying it could actually be the fastest maybe, but they couldn't quite figure it out. It's a really complicated class. And we do see Mostly Works on the Druid, so it's possible they've figured out something good here. And I'm actually maybe going to pull them up in game because I want to have a look at what they're using, since this is going to be brand new to all of us. The new secret druid tech.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And Gormus trying to keep up. He did go for the ring. I'm not quite sure if he got it. I did see one of his practice runs, and he was mentioning that, a lot of the times it's not worth it to go for that ring, as it is a 50% chance to get an Iron Ring versus a Lazuli, which, they don't really need the additional mana as long as your flask
No.
management is good. In these early stages, it's not that important. Although later on, the mana can be a problem for some of our players, as yeah, you can see a lot of focus on the league mechanic already, trying to get as much XP as possible in these early stages. And it's especially important for the Huntress because, as you can see, the playstyle is very different. With the grenades, you just kind of chuck a bunch of grenades. The delay doesn't matter that much. As long as you manage to stay alive, you're fine. But with Huntress, you're skipping past a lot of mobs. You're trying to put them behind you, and then you can release that big twister as you need to build it up. And it's very important that you position yourself well and you find the right spots to release those twisters so that they kill the most monsters. And he's doing the event for the additional support gems and trying to drop those twisters in the bag so they clear things that he run past. But the reason why I mentioned the league mechanic being important is that it's a lot of XP and it's very tightly packed, which once again allows you to get those whirling slashes out as quickly as possible and get a big twister that's going to clear out all the mobs. And other than that, you're kind of skipping past a lot of mobs. You can see that he's really running past much more than a lot of the other players, which, comes with a set of risks. It is very risky, but if it pays off big. These Huntress have some crazy personal bests that honestly, mercenaries, I don't think they're capable of getting there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that the Huntresses there's no Huntresses leading the pack currently in this early stage of the race. But
It
we
is.
know for a fact that some of those final times can be sub 2 hours. So we're going to be, I'm
Well,
sure, seeing more of them down the line.
the big thing with Huntress is that she does need a bunch of things because eventually you're going to be casting a lot of skills. There's a lot of buttons to click on a Huntress. You have to pre-buff yourself with like 4 different abilities, and then you have to go vroom, 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 and then you beep, beep with the twister, and it goes crazy.
Oh,
But
yeah.
until you get there, yeah, for Act 1, it's a little slow.
That druid kill is looking very solid there. I would not have expected just straight up kind of volcano, some well supported volcano to be doing quite so well. But yes, I can give you a lowdown on what the druid is playing now. We're seeing a bit of a mixture of like the early game witch or general spellcaster strategy combined with the new druid stuff. And yeah, taking advantage of volcano with concentrated effect and burgeon, which is the bonus for channeling. So you channel up a big volcano, it drops down, keeps doing a bunch of damage. You throw down the contagions and the essence drain and the frost bomb. And then they have, of course, the talisman for moving around in wolf form too, and now going straight into the Draven fight. And you can see that concentrated effect damage on the volcano there is really good.
Yeah, it's super effective. And you can also see Angormus fighting the consort as well. And you can see him switching over to the bear form. The reason for that is that you use Mole for building up your rage, which gives you additional attack damage. Eventually, that's going to be, I think, something roar.
That was a big crossbow for Angormus there.
Nice.
It was like 83% IPD. We probably have to take a bit of a look at that one a little bit later. He's not quite ready to equip that just yet.
Mostly works.
Big
Already having used the skip. Mostly works is up to Lachlan.
So fast.
Surely he's not going to get hit here. Nice dodge. A lot of the grenade players are relying also on stuns. Not as many stuns coming out from the druid. You can see he's going to be skipping the quest item as you don't really need it. You need it if you need the hooded bro. But for speedrun, they can't waste time going over to the hooded guy to get his stuff ID'd. And you do get it for free anyway in Act 2. So not something he's going to be bothering with. Just trying to progress as quickly as possible. You can see Angormus now taking a more ranged approach to... Exile taking a more ranged approach to his Lachlan fight. And wow, that's a big difference already, no? Angormus? He's going to be fighting Draven. Exile already over to Lachlan.
Mostly works on the druid, taking the official first Lachlan kill is very impressive. We're seeing a super strong early game from druid here. It does have that mostly works has like a really nice 60% spell damage staff, but I'm still impressed and how well this early game druid is going here, and I hope that we see them throughout the race because I'm very excited to see that mixture of classes there. If we have 3 classes competing here, that's going to be really exciting stuff.
Movement speed boots for Exile.
Oh, well, very nice pick up there. And Gormus getting his Draven down pretty well, it looks like here. Just has to secure that final grenade rotation, should have it. Of course, it can be a little tricky with the grenades as you do have to place them in anticipation of where Draven is going to be doing is, I will end your meaningless life step around combo. Picks up another semi-decent looking crossbow there, but he's already got one loaded and ready to go. I'm getting word from production here in the background as well. For those of you watching live on Twitch and not the VOD later, Twitch tops are now enabled. I didn't even know there was going to be some. That's cool news. You watch any PoE2 stream for 30 minutes in the next 24 hours and you get the Harmony footprints. So enjoy. I'm here for
surprise drops, actually? What the hell?
Yeah, surprise drops. A nice bonus. We're all here for Monster Fast, but we can get some footprints as well at the same time. I like the choice of footprints for that as well.
Let's go. Wow, production. Great job.
Very good.
Way to do it. All right, well, we had the first kill on the Huntress on Lachlan as well. And yeah, once again, it is a little bit slower. He is searching for weapons. You can see I can read all of that perfectly. He does manage to find a pair of gloves with some damage, so that's going to definitely be very helpful. It is super effective on a spear, especially as it is a one-hander, so you've got those lower base numbers, and that just makes the gloves more effective than something like a two-handed crossbow. You've got Mostly Works finding the Crowbell, taking his time. That's going to yield 2 additional skill points. And yeah, skill points are very important. Players are very set on what kind of level they're going to be needing. And yeah, a part of that is the fact that they need a certain amount of passive points to be able to progress. And also production is telling us that I'm Exile is significantly ahead of Mostly Works in regards to XP, which makes sense because you do need level 14 for the gas grenade, for Geonor on the mercenary. I don't think the druid has anything other than that volcano in their arsenal, as Mostly Works is now dealing with another league mechanic, and he actually skips it. Interesting. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I'm a little curious about that XP differential there because it could be, like you said, about like intentional. I'm trying to XP more, so I'm not progressing as fast. But I was also thinking about the mechanics of how the druid plays here. With the grenades, you can slap down the grenades on a pack and just keep running. But with the volcano, you have to really like channel up that volcano, try and get the contagion. Contagion's pretty good, but it does start to drop off. So I wonder if druid is going to have a hard time keeping up on the XP gain for pack clear later on as maybe that contagion starts to drop off, or maybe this build has got that problem solved. I don't know. It hasn't been a thing that we've seen in the past. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out between the mercenary and the druid moving forwards. But we do see...
Look at the play from Jiluo. He's pulling the boss as close as possible to that door while dealing damage. That is one of the advantage of those twisters. You can set yourself up to get the boss as close as possible.
Oh man, look at that damage.
And boom. Yeah, that was just one tornado. And you have to keep in mind, again, they can hit multiple times every 0.66 of a second. Each one of these tornadoes can hit. So a really big deal as we switch on over to... I think this is LHD. I'm not sure about this player.
We don't. Yeah, we're gonna try and find out what this player is. Their account name is literally the numbers there. So
not LHD.
It's not LHD. Okay, it could be a mystery race. It does start. I'd just like to point out that the numbers of the account start with 23. So I'm just gonna leave that dangling.
That is a very familiar number.
Interesting. Where do I remember that number from? Yes. Okay.
Well, he does have a Chinese character name.
Still, you never know. No, the fact that they're on a huntress means that this might be a hitherto unknown, previously unknown racer, maybe. But it could be a mystery racer. I don't know. We'll see. But we have a huntress moving very fast. They came. I'm going to call them 23. 23 was third on the Lachlan kills there, just behind EXILE and Mostly Works. Nice. So progressing very fast on the Huntress now. We're seeing Huntresses start to shuffle up the pack a little bit as we move into the latter parts of Act 1, where things get a little bit spicy and interesting here as we head through some pretty dangerous zones moving forwards after the Executioner. We have a couple of dangerous zones and then a nice big boss fight, which I've learned some very interesting things about, actually. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. There's too much stuff I'm excited to talk about in this race. In the meantime, though, Mostly Works. Let's have a look how that Executioner kill goes there. Obviously, you want to keep them on that channeled up volcano. And when they're on
massive amount of damage.
The damage is so good.
Huge.
Yeah, if they move off of it, the damage is like instantly halved. But, oh man, that's very nice there. Any sort of static boss is going to be just taking so much damage from that. Or if you can indeed anticipate and pre-place that channel ahead of time.
That is so much more damage than anything a mercenary or huntress is capable of at this stage of the game. Even if you've got the best gear, you really can't do it. And on a druid, yeah, I mean, gear's always going to make a difference. You can get those plus levels and whatnot. But, man, that's a ton of damage. That is very cool coming out from a druid player here. You can see a little bit of plant work there. On top of that, contagion, a pretty basic caster setup for leveling. But man, in the right hands, it's super effective.
They just have no gear equipped too. I'd just like to point that out. It's like, whereas you've got like the mercs making sure that they're getting the ring, they've got gloves because they want to get damage on there as well, and probably have a helmet and chest. No, the druid has a belt, some boots, an amulet, and the staff. And to be honest, the belt and amulet, probably optional. I think just the stuff. Oh, this new stuff they picked up though. +2 spell levels, 26 extra fire damage, 30 extra lightning damage, and 5% light radius, of course. Very important.
Yeah, that's going to be a big deal for a long time for sure.
They unfortunately did not get the Sword Gem trick.
Oh no, mostly works.
Grab it. Okay, worked out. Nice.
Yeah, you have to do... The reason why that looked so awkward for him is because you have to click the corpse and then slightly move away, which allows you to drop the gem on top of your character rather than up that little ramp there.
You can still reach it, but you have to get right on top of it like that, which was a bit awkward with the monsters there. Yeah, whereas you can just normally grab it while running. So one of those little tricks you can incorporate into your own campaign playthrough, just like a nice little quality of life thing. You do a quick roll as you click the corpse and the gem appears on you.
Executioner for 23. What kind of damage can we see from this Huntress here? A really big arena. You have to position him so that your twisters bounce off of that back wall over there. Struggling quite a lot there.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's not like the volcano at all, is it? It's not that consistent kind of easy thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fact that you can only hit twice, you also don't really have a whole lot of projectile speed. Later on, you get weapons that allow you to get more projectile speed or increased projectile speed. And that's going to make a big difference as well, some increased duration. All of that really comes together for the Huntress. But in Act 1, once again, yeah, the damage is not nearly as great as EXILE. Now finding another league mechanic gets that, I believe, guaranteed GCP from the ramparts. With Angormus in the top left, a tremendous amount of damage. Wow.
Yeah, Angormus getting a chance now to take advantage of that new crossbow that they picked.
Wait, is that the attack speed spear that Angormus dropped? No, surely that's the other one.
I think it's the like planty looking one.
Yeah, I think that's the guaranteed poison.
Well,
I'm not sure if that's the one.
Adjusting to make any use of that one.
He sells it. Yeah,
he vendors that for a little bit of extra gold, but something maybe the huntresses might have been interested in, but not so much for Angor. Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's the. I mean, it would still benefit, but because on a huntress you have to use multiple different spears. It is a really big deal. The spears don't have to be good, but you need to use a attack speed spear for your willing slash.
Just as I was snooping, that amazing crossbow from Angormus goes down on the mana ramparts. Like I said, the mana ramparts and the mana itself can be quite dangerous, and Angormus is definitely feeling that one as they have to stand still for 2.5 minutes now. And of course, production is absolutely ruthless. Despite Angormus working their way into our hearts over the past 4 seasons, immediately cut from the stream in favor of Woodish, a newcomer to the scene, previously of Last Epoch racing fame, having won an Aberoth kill in last year for a race event. They run like $5 grand in a hardcore race. A good racer, and you see this every now and then where you've got like a player that's just good at esports in general, and they come over to PoE 2 and they start practicing like crazy, and they have what it takes to like become good at the game almost instantly. And that is apparently Woodish, because brand new to Path of Exile 2 racing, apparently beat Angormus to maps in a hardcore private event recently. I believe it was like the Timmy League or something, and now is on the stream here. So very cool, playing a mercenary and on their way to Count Geonor.
And Mostly Works is already there, so really impressive run so far from Mostly Works.
Yeah, so is this Mostly Works the first enter Ogomena was Mostly Works, and then 23, and then Exile, then Woodish, and the first to fight Geonor here. And okay, so I'm going to tell you about the tech. The how to skip the poetry phase has been discovered. If Geonor is in the center of the arena, they won't do the poetry phase. Now that is not as easy as it sounds, because if you have them in the center to begin with, then they'll do their movement, their attacks, which all have a ton of movement in them, and step away from the center. But if you can wrangle them and keep them in the center, so like have them just off center and then kind of keep pushing them into the center, you can really minimize the chance of having that poetry phase. So you can go ahead and skip that whole thing and have a real nice fast Geonor kill, because obviously the poetry phase is a huge time cost. It takes like 30 seconds or something. That damage from Mostly Works is insane.
I've heard multiple people within the last week say that it's pure RNG, so I don't think that's a strategy that all of our players are familiar with.
Maybe this is going to be one of those things that just proliferates now. But that is the thing. Now I have to say, all of these like strategies from the races, there's always a certain percentage of just kind of applying the sacred unguents, like hoping that it works, and we think this works, and then one day it doesn't. But
Mostly Works.
Apparently, this is being sworn by as a consistent thing. But oh my god, that is such a fast kill there. Look, just stuck on the elevator, maximizing that volcano damage. Crazy fast Geonor kills. I mean, that's the alternative way of not getting a poetry phase, right? Just kill it. Just kill it. Crazy. Sure. That'll do it.
Great damage.
Mostly Works definitely with the first kill there off the back of that.
The positioning,
crazy.
The positioning on a mercenary is going to be very different, as you're going to have to keep your range, try and... Oh, nice. Not quite sure about the damage, switching out gems, checking out the DPS, making sure that he drops all of the gems he doesn't need anymore. Fragmentation rounds, no longer necessary for the round, for the gameplay. I don't see gas grenade for Exile. Is he not level 14? Wait, this is a big deal. I don't think he's level 14 on Geonord. That is really unusual, as you do get a lot of XP.
Exile's level 12, yeah. There you go.
Level 12? That's insane. Wait, we've never seen that on the Mercenary. They always go for level 14. It's been pretty much a defining aspect of the Mercenary in the past. You get level 14 or you don't do any damage. People have even went to the extent of experimenting with like Perfect Strike and seeing if maybe it's better, as Geonor can be a little bit tricky for a Mercenary. Super interesting stuff. Woodish on a Mercenary also in the bottom left. You can see our nice new overlay working out pretty well, as we can see multiple players fighting. Geonor getting a big load of grenades dropped on his head. That takes a huge chunk of his HP away. But yeah, the damage not looking nearly as good without that gas grenade. Obviously, the set that comes with its own set of advantages. And you can also see on the Huntress that 23 is taking down that statue boy, which will yield additional HP, and any amount of additional defenses is super important on this melee playstyle that the Huntress has fully committed to. Woodish with the Wyvern form on a Mercenary.
Yeah, we're seeing we're going to be seeing probably a fair bit of the Wyvern stun into rend for the lightning damage buff on the Mercenaries. It seems to become quite a good staple there, as the Mercenaries can reliably build up that stun and then take advantage of it. Geonor dying so hard, they're like flying up the side of the arena there. We're just getting a very fast kill. So yeah, we're seeing, despite this tech existing for keeping them in the center, if you just kill them fast enough or get anywhere, you know, you're pretty likely to skip that poetry phase anyway, it turns out. Very nice. Camera shake on. Mostly works here with a very dangerous fight. Sometimes even more dangerous than Count Geonor. You immediately come into the Wrathbreaker fight, and Wrathbreaker is not afraid to be like, yeah, I know I'm not an Act boss, but first boss, welcome to Act 2. Slam. But mostly works handling it pretty well and doing a good job of just keeping them in place on top of that volcano. Being a smaller boss, not taking quite as much damage, but does get taken down. And obviously you can stay right at the point of that, and the wolves just kind of get confused and don't really know where to go. You can wait and loot and then get out of there safely, as they do just there.
We've got our first Huntress approaching the Geonor fight as well. So once again, you are sacrificing quite a lot of time for Act 1 for this playstyle, but later on you're going to be able to skip a lot of monsters and go into those final bosses with a lot less XP. I do wonder what kind of DPS output we can see here. It will be a different playstyle. As much as it is melee, you kind of have to keep the bosses further away from the wall compared to a druid, but not keep them in the center, as he is doing that right now. Maybe this is because of the strategy that Ziggy mentioned that allows him to avoid the poetry phase. Not something he has to worry about in phase 1, but once phase 2 approaches, you do want that boss already positioned, as immediately he moves out of the way. So
yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of movement skills going on in this fight. So if you can wrangle it and you learn the movement and steps for some of those combos, then, you know, look, he's got Geonor back in the center of the arena. So this is maybe something that 23, this looks intentional, right? Like they definitely seem to be kind of drawing them back into the center of the arena there. It might also just be kind of pretty good for the twisters, maybe, as you can somewhat get that bounce back.
You kind of want him in the center, but kind of a little bit off, thanks to the slam there. More
like the slam in the center to me is like an indicator, right? Like that you want to keep them there rather
than kind of moving a bit more.
Oh, that was a really nice like interrupt on the beam there. They were were like so confident that was going to work that they were just right there and taking the beam. Was it even a parry? Maybe I don't think you can parry it. Can you? Because you can certainly block things like that. I don't know. I'm not sure if that works on the buckler, but either way, get through that very cleanly, like skillfully.
The big thing too is that on a Huntress, obviously you want to parry because that allows you to use Claws of Frost, which drops the chilling ground, which slows down the boss, and it's super important. But the big thing on a Huntress is that you have to always try to min-max your HP as much as possible. This isn't something that you're going to be worrying about with other classes this early on, but because the parry is based off of the amount of HP that you've got, there are situations where you simply don't have enough HP, and our players will know that if they parry here, they will get stunned. And that is something that they have to avoid. Now, as they are in Act 2, it's going to be very important on a Huntress that you go through a set of steps that will allow you for a much bigger single target. And a part of that is finding the event, as he does manage to do it, for a tier 2 support gem that will give you Frost Nexus. This will allow you to drop Chill Ground and Chill with all of their different abilities. With Whirling Slash, you're going to also be using Barrages, our player has already been using for multiple attacks, and then also Ice Tips Arrows.
What happened to our druid there?
I know Mostly Works is dead because he's standing still for at least a minute and a half more.
Yeah. There's, I believe we might have missed that during the Geno kill or something during the shuffle there. He had a bit of, I think he might have had a crash and died there, or died and log out or something. So we might have actually missed that. Unfortunate. Mostly Works is indeed the druid. Really? It's just the typo on the thing there for a bit.
We had a production crash, and that's when he died. So that's why we missed it.
He died
not
during
that he
our
crashed.
Crash.
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay. Our spectator client crashed. Do apologize for that. So we're unsure of what happened, but Mostly Works experiencing an upset in the mines. Plenty of places to get body blocked and wrecked, and that might have been what has happened. Unfortunate upset for them. They had been very strongly in the lead. This gives a little bit of a chance for the players to catch up, but still something they can absolutely come back from. So we'll see how they go as they get back into the race here in just a moment. In the meantime, we get to see the Huntress on Wrathbreaker, but this is like, does not seem to be, is this where you want Wrathbreaker here? You have to dodge all of the spears and everything.
Yeah. I was about to say he immediately moved, and that's not particularly good. As keeping him
that's rough.
On the top of that ramp really helps you a lot. And this is pretty much the final boss when you still have to use Claws of Frost for that chill, and things aren't nearly as automated as they are going to be in the future. More buttons, but you're going to be seeing a lot more damage as mostly everybody is progressing through the Mountain Quarry, including Mostly Works, who can now finally move with that werewolf form. He's going to be running around. You can see it kind of looks like he's spamming his space bar, and that's exactly what it is. It is slightly faster than the sprint, but most importantly, it's safer. Every now and then you're going to be pouncing as well to get past mobs, maybe get past some obstacles. You can do some cool skips. I don't think we've showcased it here, but for Wrathbreaker, you can jump from below up to Wrathbreaker. One of his ads is targetable, and that allows you for a nice skip. So already a lot of things that you can be doing here. Some of our Huntresses are going to be doing some of those things later on too, either with Thunderous Leap, or that's already going to happen when they are going to be pretty much fully committing to the werewolf form as well. But that is something that is a really big deal for druids and for mercenaries, that you don't need to use your second weapon, which allows you to use a talisman, which then allows you to use this werewolf form early. The way that Huntress gets around that is that she picks up a lot of sprint nodes on the tree, a lot of movement speed nodes on the tree, and that lets you keep up while also having a lot of damage coming out from those twisters.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing
Essence Ring Contagion is good.
Yeah, it's nice when you're actually playing a character that gets a bit of scaling for it. Ooh, Mostly Works kind of considering with that little pause there, was them pausing and deciding if they wanted to reset at checkpoint, but they decided to keep going and stick with it there. It does manage to get out of the situation. Meanwhile, 23 does opt for the reset after getting into a slightly bad position there with less than half health. And
he's squishy. Mostly Works is so squishy. 230 something life. Nobody else on the screen has less than 300 HP.
I mean, I was saying before they had literally no gear on. It might still be the case. Right. I'm gonna have a look.
That's the thing, right? Our players are always really trying to min-max three major elements.
Put any gear on. Okay, this is definitely going to come back to bite them, because 240 hit points right now is not enough for almost anything to be survivable. So you're just going to be going for the don't get hit forehead strategy, which empty ring slots, empty gloves, empty chest, empty helmet. They have a helmet lined up for later, but that's that's it. But they have damage.
It is
that
hard.
Is something they have, and that's why it's the strongest defense.
It's a little bit. Man. Oh my! Big chunker from Mostly Works.
So we have just seen the transition away from Volcano. Volcano has been completely dropped on the ground and discarded. Bone Storm now with Burgeon and Zenith which is that 30% more damage if your mana is at high. So you top that mana up and then start that channel and get that gigantic Bone Storm damage. And mate, we've seen it on the Infernalist and stuff in the past and can be very impressive. And I did not expect to see it on the Druid here. So we're seeing a super interesting Druid game develop. I'm very happy with how this race is playing out so far.
Yeah, but do keep in mind, again, there's 3 major elements that our players are always trying to min-max, which is your progression, how quickly are you getting past everything, your XP, how much XP you're getting while you're trying to progress as quickly as possible, and then also gear. And gear is a major aspect, especially on a mercenary in Act 2. This is where you get your Varnished Crossbow at level 16, and you're pretty much always going to be checking vendors, and you can save yourself a lot of time if you get a good crossbow early, which you will pretty much keep all the way until level 33 when you start using that bombard. So you're going to be seeing some of our mercenary players dumping a lot of currency, hopefully, into a crossbow. I say hopefully, because that would indicate that they found a crossbow that is good enough to actually put their currency towards. And there's even like a cool little trick where you can use a few blacksmith stones on a level 16 crossbow, which then when you're going to be switching over to another tier, and spears can do this too, you can salvage that weapon to get those blacksmith stones for free back. So it doesn't come really with a cost. You're not sacrificing anything in the long term. But it is, all of these things are super important to min-max on a mercenary and not nearly as important to optimize on a huntress. You just want attack speed with a fast base. That's all that you care about. And then every extra damage that you get on your weapon swap for the Twister, that's going to be something that you're going to have to worry about another day. And for Druid, apparently you don't need any gear at all. I don't know. This guy's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I'm going to spy in on Woodish and have a look at how they're going, because like you said, that's level 16 breakpoint is very big. It's basically like level 16 and then another breakpoint at level 31 that they go for. So we're going to be taking a look at what we've got lined up. We've got a Dryad crossbow with some decent little bits of damage there lined up for level 20. Not strong enough to be carrying you through until the end game of the race to see you through.
Right.
Sometimes you can find that level 16 crossbow that's well rolled enough that you can actually just use that through to the end, but it can be a little rough unless it's amazing.
Man, Jiluo and 23 entering the next zone at the exact same time. Little bit of min-maxing here. They might be resetting a checkpoint to reset the NPC, as she does tend to get stuck at times. And yeah, with the Huntress, you can see that they're skipping a lot of monsters and trying to line them up for that big Twister, trying to kill as many packs at the same time as possible. You can see them for Jiluo. He's skipping a big pack. He's pulling everything together. He's stacking up the whirling slashes, and boom, a huge clear on everything as he manages to not just find an essence, but also a league mechanic that he will now be opening. So once again, a major element for XP gain and itemization for the Huntress is going to be this league mechanic. They don't have to wait for any delay from any grenades or anything like that. They just need that big AoE from the Twister. Mostly works now up to the same zone as well with Exile. Not far behind, keeping up with the grenades. And this is really very important for the mercenaries.
Just looking at Exile's Varnished crossbow, that level 16 like I was talking about there.
I can see it's got 2 sockets, so I can already tell it's a banger.
It's good enough to chuck 2 sockets on because it's got triple added damage with very good rolls and attack speed on top of that. So we've got 12 to 18 fizz, 7 to 10 fire, and 14 to 21 cold, in addition to that lightning 2 to 30 from the runes. That is a lot of damage.
Really?
And there's a lot of crossbow you could potentially use through. We will see how the rest of the gear pans out.
That's not that great. I'm surprised that he would put sockets into it. Obviously, you can get a bunch of different Artificer's Orb drops, so maybe he had particularly good luck in that regard. But that's not that great. That's not an amazing crossbow.
Crazy. It's a banger.
I mean, considering you want to use this all the way until 33, I don't
want to, but that can be a fallback plan. Very occasionally you'll see like amazing enough gear that you're like, oh, I'm actually going to push
at the damage
here.
In the bottom right, 23. In these small arenas, this is where Twisters shine. Yup. This is already you've got
optimal.
Almost all the things that you need. You've got the Whirling Slash, you've got the Barrage, you've got the Ice Tip Arrows. You still have enough intelligence to be able to use Frost Bomb, because that is a major thing with the Huntress. You don't really have enough attributes to use all of the abilities. So even though something like a Frost Bomb would be super effective, as eventually you're pretty much exclusively dealing cold damage through the conversion that you get with the Ice Tipped Arrows, you actually have to drop Frost Bomb because you just don't have enough intelligence. So you're always going to be sacrificing something on a Huntress to itemize for more attributes. But at this stage of the game, all that he's missing is Freezing Mark that I think you get at tier 7 gems. And that's really when the damage is going to be coming out. And yeah, the damage on our other players is not bad either. I'm Exile dealing with the Jamanra quite nicely.
Yeah, Jamanra going down super fast to those grenade volleys.
Let's see the Druid.
Yeah, big old Bone Storm coming out maybe. Getting harassed a little bit, making it a bit hard to throw out that Bone Storm if they're getting stunned. Oh! This is the problem, right? 260 health is not enough to not get stunned by every attack that the boss does. The default attack's stunning them out of their Bone Storms. Really just needs to put some other gear on, like... I get, not using a chest maybe for movement speed. This is a bit excessive. There's no movement speed penalty for gloves. Mostly works, just so you know.
He sacrificed a lot of defenses to be able to keep up with the other players. And honestly, it's already costing him. Resistances are a major element of this race. There are different bosses that you just have to cap your resistances for. And Jamanra
I don't think he can end this
does a lot of lightning damage. He was getting shocked really heavily there. So no gear is a big deal. And Act 2 is already where you start itemizing. I mean, you itemize, even in Act 1, you itemize for some of the Act 4 bosses, but Act 2 especially is very important in regards to resistances. You get some guaranteed rings that you can go for, and you can see that Jiluo is already up to the Bone Pits, or even the Mastodon Zone. The Mastodon Zone does have a guaranteed 4 link from the League mechanic, so that's something that our players are going to be looking for sure. Exile in the Mastodon Badlands now.
Picks up some movement speed boots from the vendor there. They're having some problems with attributes. Not enough attributes to equip the helmet that's in their inventory. So there's still no chest armor, no rings, no gloves. Yeah, this is really rough for them. They did at least get 15% movement speed boots from the vendor, but nothing else to secure that survivability aspect. And we saw the big problem there is just you can't be getting stunned out of that Bone Storm. That's where all that damage is coming from. And if the boss is just tapping you with default attacks and stunning you, then that's not going to work.
But keep in mind, Mostly Works
very quickly.
Mostly Works has already died once, and he's still keeping up. He's doing the Abyss here, so a pretty major commitment. A lot of gear that you can get from the Abyss, but most importantly, a lot of XP. So this will hopefully allow him to stay a little bit safer. Most of our other players are looking for that League mechanic for the guaranteed 4 link, but they will be skipping the Abyss as it tends to not be enough XP. And honestly, on the Huntress, you're kind of already approaching very slowly, well, not really that slowly, but you're approaching the point where you won't need any more XP. A pretty major element that we've talked about in previous races is that you need level 28 for Jamanra. Huntresses don't do that. Our players might even go to Jamanra at level 26, 27, and that's pretty much all the XP that they're going to be getting. Everything in Act 3 and everything in Act 4, they're going to be skipping. They're just equipping their werewolf form and jumping around. They're not going to be killing any monsters. So if you don't have an advantage of a mercenary at this stage of the game, you're behind. It looks like it's close, but the Huntresses, they're really far ahead. As long as they can stay alive, man, I don't know. This might end up being a blowout for the Huntresses.
Definitely too early to call yet, but we are seeing some very fast clear starting to happen on those Huntresses, and we're starting to see some of the potentials there. We're getting the Whirlwind's double tapping the boss as it bounces off the arena twice here. Another good boss for this kill, although the timing between the two boss kills here, not exactly even, but oh man, that huge damage off the wall there. Okay, never mind, they're going to be just fine. The Enrage will not be a problem for 23 as they take down that duo there.
Another element for the Huntress is that you are able to equip a scepter as you are using a one-hander. The players are not going to be traveling far enough for the keystone that gives you offhand attack speed and things like that. So they are just using a scepter for their main setup on the twister, and that allows you to get malice, but it also allows you to get attrition or war banner. Attrition if you're, kind of lazy, but war banner if you're being really efficient. And you can already see that 23 has that available. With Jiluo, I'm not sure if they're having a banner.
Even
I do
faster.
see the spirit.
Yeah,
that was a nice
even
one.
faster there. Crazy.
No malice yet.
There's EXILE getting a very fast grenade kill as well off the back of that really high damage gear that they have right now. So EXILE is that kind of a bit of a peak moment here, but hopefully they can continue to carry that forwards. Kind of fumbles the rare dry crossbow. But the current crossbow is good enough that it will not be beaten by a dryad currently anyway. So it would mostly have just been for vendoring. But 100%. Huntress is looking very good here. Man, that clear in 23 as they're moving through.
Well, and as much as I'm talking about it being potentially a blowout and all this, if they manage to stay alive is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that assumption, because
absolutely
we might be seeing a lot of rips. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked that we haven't seen any rips from any of our Huntresses yet. This melee play style, again, you have to always consider the fact that you can get stunned. With the werewolf form, as you're jumping around, you cannot get stunned. But when you're sprinting around like this, you really have to optimize your playstyle to not just die with 23. Yeah, the damage is massive, but it's not massive enough yet. Again, the freezing mark will be coming out very soon, and that's really where this entire setup is going to be shining. But
they
it's still more than good enough.
Sometimes the twisters do just miss, though, but there we go. In particular, Jiluo's movement is just looking insane here as they move through the packs. I'm just seeing the backflips and the use of the whirlwind movement, as well as weaving all of that together with dodge roll and timing out those tornadoes, even like aiming the tornadoes sideways there to like bounce back and forth across the pack rather than just sending it off the edge of the screen like you would be inclined to. Like normally players would point their ability at the enemies, right? But Jiluo is like, I'm going to throw it at the wall here so it bounces back and forth and kills everything in that area and gives me more XP. Like really, really good like technical optimization of movement and everything here. And like you said, to stay alive is surprising on the Huntress. It's very squishy playstyle and strategy here. And whereas we can see the mercenaries get something like 700 plus health, get some decent armor, evasion, and be able to actually tank some things from Tavakai. That won't be the case here.
Great layout read from Jiluo. Manages to find the exit, but decides to go for the guaranteed amulet that drops from that side zone. And he's going to be using the checkpoint to go back and exit. So you can see that itemization is a priority here. This is where they are killing some of their final mobs right now. And the gear that they're getting now is going to be, for the most part, the gear that they're going to be using for those Act 4 boss kills. So super important, and he does spend that extra time to get their EXILE with the massive damage coming out.
I think the best damage currently of all of them. Like that's a bit faster to me than the whirlwinds.
Right, but you have to keep in mind that this is, I mean, not quite when you're peaking, because he is quite a ways away from that level 16 when he equipped the crossbow. But this is what he's using all the way until the bombard. So this will begin to drop off. Obviously, you're getting more passive points, but it is a really awkward stage for the mercenaries, because this is where you're getting a lot of the utility, but not a lot of the outright damage from your passives. So it looks great right now, but you need a bigger advantage. EXILE has to go faster. I would feel very threatened as a mercenary here that the Huntresses, they aren't far back enough.
The strategy for the mercenary gearing in the crossbow and level strategy seems to be adjusting a bit, at least from watching Guard That Dies. I can't speak for all of the mercenaries, definitely, but it used to be that people would push for 33 for the bombard crossbow for that big damage. But obviously that like takes a little bit of extra time to level that. But less than that, even the fact that you have to hoard the currency for the crossbow to craft it, or just hope to get really lucky, was like pretty iffy, and that would actually cost you quite a bit of time, because you wouldn't be able to just invest that into an earlier crossbow and actually benefit it from it sooner, rather than just having that currency sitting there in your inventory doing nothing until right at the very end. So I think we're seeing more like level 31 push now and going for like that big alloy crossbow. Unless you get something really crazy earlier on.
I feel like in a way, you kind of have to do that, right? When the Huntresses are killing bosses at
especially against
27,
this build.
You can't afford to go for level 33. So yeah, we're gonna have to see. I mean, a lot of this is the unfortunate part of Mercenary. A lot of it is how you have to adjust to the sort of drops that you're getting. And that's just something that they're gonna have to do. While Huntress, she's not worried about whether or not she's gonna have the damage. It's more of a problem of how much more damage can I get with an extra weapon. But you can see on the Huntress, you don't have to check the vendors every single level. You know, you don't have to look for another base. You don't have to worry about any of that. You're spending a lot less time in town. And the damage, it's still pretty good. You can see Jiluo dropping that war banner, or sorry, 23 dropping that war banner in the bottom right. And as long as those twisters hit multiple times, it's pretty good. Again, they don't shotgun, but from a single ability, they can hit multiple times as long as it's 0.66 apart. Just like Spark, if that's something that you're familiar with. It's basically the exact same mechanic, but in attack damage form. A little bit of...
I think I take the damage comment back. I think Mostly Works still has the most damage from their boss kill earlier. But it's still no gear, though. They have an unidentified cultist crown. Maybe that will give them something. But they've slowly crept their way up to almost 300 life, but not quite. But that is... that's a bit iffy. We're seeing everyone else having 400 plus, 450 for Jiluo on the Huntress, which is the conventionally squishy class. It's funny to see the Druid being so much squishier here. I think at this point, just ultimately Mostly Works trying to go so fast and just missing gearing opportunities, not quite spending a little bit of extra time at vendors to do so to fix these problems. And I can only see this coming back to haunt them pretty soon. But
and speaking of HP and defenses, apparently Angormus has died once again in the background.
Yeah, so crazy damage from Jiluo there. The tornado, the whirlwind's just kind of bouncing back perfectly for the second round of damage there. Crazy kill on that one.
Very fast. I mean, I'm not sure if they're quite there yet, but this could be also the stage where they get the freezing mark, which allows them to build up their freezes a lot more. And they also, if they manage to freeze a boss, they get a 30% extra damage as cold buff, which, yeah, I mean, it just keeps piling, right? You have a lot of buttons to click, but when you click all of those buttons and the twisters land just right, it is crazy. Mostly Works jumping past that beetle, and you can see how much time EXILE is spending. Sure, you can still do a little bit of vendoring when the caravan moves. That is a little bit of an annoying aspect of the Act 2 campaign, that whenever the caravan is moving, you're going to the next zone. You're not quite able to exit town immediately, which, yeah, can be frustrating on some of our other classes, but for the Mercenary, that's the perfect time that you can go to a vendor, do a quick check, and right as you're able to exit town, immediately do so. So it is costing you time, but Act 2 is the perfect zone to be doing these things in. And yeah, EXILE is keeping up in the same zone as Jiluo. But man, look at that AoE clear, just ice everywhere. All the mobs are dead. And wow, Jiluo, what level is he? He's actually beginning to skip the league mechanic already. So he must be looking really well. Yeah. The windup is big, but the multiple screen clear is just so ridiculous. And again, I don't know if you can check Ziggy, but
yeah,
Jilu was probably using, like, you know, a barely good weapon.
I'm gonna see. I'm pretty sure I have them on my list here. Let's have a look. I just double check it is actually Jilu.
Again, there are two sets of weapons. Your Whirling Slash, you want speed. You don't really care about the damage. But on your Twister, you want a big damage. You don't care about the speed. You want damage.
It's just a blue spear with 5 to 8 cold damage and 10% attack speed.
The attack speed. The attack speed on the other one is the more important part, because that's a winged spear, so it's the fastest that you can get. And he's already got the war. So this is pretty much the final weapon that he's going to be using, the Twister one, the war spear, because you can see that increased projectile damage. You can get another tier at level 26, but because of the projectile speed, I don't anticipate that they're going to be using anything. But you can see that even with basically nothing on this spear, it is a ridiculous amount of damage. I mean, it is just crazy.
So I know this Twister playstyle is new for a lot of you. It is new for me as well. I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on what Jiluo is using right now. We've got Whirling Slash with rapid attacks and Rage for that Rage generation. Really good Rage generation skill there. You're using it pretty often. You can keep that Rage up. Twister is the one that got that first Jeweler's Orb that they picked up earlier in the Macedon Badlands. So that's got Elemental Armament 2 for more damage. Frost Nexus, which creates Chilled Ground so that it can get that Chilled Ground buff there. And that's when they freeze an enemy. So they try and get that freeze build up happening and then try and get that freeze from Twister to put that chilled ground down for that big bonus damage. And we've seen that. And projectile acceleration for 40% more projectile speed. That gives that ability to bounce around. And we've got this Ice Tipped Arrows spell as well.
It's ridiculous. Ice Tipped Arrow is crazy.
I didn't know that this didn't need a bow, given that it's called Ice-Tipped Arrows, but there you go. Well, requires a spear or bow. Yeah, it works on spears. Fair enough. Retreat and elemental armament. Not a build I play.
Yeah. Spears have tips. Come on.
That's it. It makes fair enough. Maybe it needs a different name, though. And we have Herald of Ice, and that is only going on the weapon stops. They actually have 2 spears equipped, and on the second set, they have a Stoic Scepter, which is giving the spirit to be able to activate that Herald of Ice, which they're just like swapping to as they clear. So they'll swap over to activate that Herald of Ice just briefly for the pack clear, which is insane level of kind of like optimization for the clearing here. Obviously, you get that auto weapon swapping.
Oh, Ziggy. Yeah. We're not there yet. Trust me. The shit that they're going to be doing in Act 3 is going to...
I'm very excited.
You're going to be seeing some tame beast mechanics. It's going to go crazy. The amount of effort that they're going to go through to just dish out a giant Twister, it's massive. And those ice-tipped spears really is... The ice-tipped arrows is really the big element here that makes the Twister so impactful, because with the barrage, you're going to be attacking multiple times, and that's where the big damage comes from, alongside the full 100% damage conversion. And you can see Exile with the grenades, killing the Colossus, looking pretty good, trying to min-max their cursor positioning to not have those grenades drop down, and the gas grenade, is going to be more than effective enough to take down the Colossus.
And you were mentioning earlier the War Banner. They are running the War Banner in addition to Barrage and Freezing Marks. So there's a lot of tech at play here.
Does he have a Malice Scepter?
He's got a Discipline Scepter in this case, not the Malice.
So we're not there yet. Again, there's many more things that we can get.
Yeah, no chest armor, and really like a little bit of damage sprinkled across the other gear. It's crazy the amount of damage that you can just get from the skills here. It's almost like a spellcaster. Yep. Like you said, the fact that they can just use a blue spear to achieve this level of damage is kind of wild. Not going to say OP, but definitely OP.
It's OP. What the hell? It's OP. The problem once again is with the ice-tipped arrows. It really isn't a Twister issue. If for whatever reason ice-tipped arrows working on the Twister, that's a problem. I don't know if that's balanced. Check NPC. But we do have Jiluo taking down his Colossus, looking pretty good.
Very nice.
I do know that there's a little bit of annoyance when it comes to Colossus on the Huntress, because you can't actually drop the chilled ground. So that's a little bit annoying on that fight in particular, but still, it doesn't really matter all damn much. But we will be seeing some more damage coming out from all of our types of players, because for mercenaries, you're going to have that Ferocious Roar, which will give them max range. They're not going to have to be mauling with a bear anymore. But for Huntress, once again, she does get the freezing mark. So that's going to be a big benefit, as mostly works. Still struggling to stay alive, struggling to get past these mobs now. The levels are hurting. The survivability is hurting. I don't know if this druid will be able to keep up for that much longer, but mostly works an excellent player, showing us that some of the caster setups can still be competitive, even in this very attack-oriented race.
They managed to equip, Mostly Works managed to equip a helmet, but it doesn't have any life on it, and a little bit of fire resistance and crit chance, so kind of just more of a damage scaling helmet, if anything. Still lacking chest or any rings or gloves, but oh man.
The chest piece is something that we're going to be not seeing from a lot of our players, as chest piece does give you a ton of defense, but it takes away movement speed. And movement speed is a pretty major element.
You want one for the boss fights, though, especially Jarman Rock coming up. And I mean, I just have to point out that Mostly Works has 0% cold res right now. Like that's going to be rough.
That's a problem. I mean, lightning resistance.
And lightning. Yeah, 4% lightning resistance, 0% cold res.
Okay, yeah, 4% is not enough. Lightning resistance is very important, not just in Act 3 and 4, but also in Act 2 for, yeah, especially Jamanra. You can get shocked, that's and right. That's going to be a big problem.
No, yeah. Yes.
15% movement speed boost, though. That's a huge one, honestly, because he hasn't been checking vendors much.
Yeah, they did that one vendor check, and that was all they managed to pick up from there, which is good. But usually that's the icing. Yeah, you want some survivability here too. I really hope they can keep it together because I absolutely want to see this Druid Mercenary Huntress 3-way battle. Because I am very excited that we're an hour into the race right now, and I actually don't know who's going to qualify. You know, I had like a top 4, and let me see, is my top 4 even in the running right now? Gilawur was the only one from my top 4 that is still in the running. Guy That Dies, Angomas, Gilawur, and Whole New Society were my top 4 to qualify for this race. But it's only Gilawur from that is currently like in the lead. So this is really very unexpected. Know. Yeah, that's it.
We never know until Tavakai is that. We've had so many of these races where even somebody will be in the lead throughout the entire race, and then they get to Tavakai and they can't finish for another 20 minutes.
Okay, that's crazy. It's like that first one was just like a little tenderizing bone storm, and that second one takes them from 90 down to 10% health.
That's nice.
I love it. I love the giant bone storm.
Yeah, it proves that you don't even need to get any ascendancies or anything, because we've seen that on the Infernal in the past. But nope, on a Druid, you can still go crazy.
Yeah, and that's ultimately one of the reasons why we saw the switch from Infernalist was like competing despite having to ascend. But, you know, with this field getting even faster this season, or for these qualifiers since Season 4, it's not been a long time yet. People have improved like 10, 15 minutes in some cases. That was just going to be a really hard to keep competitive. But so now we're seeing like people switching to the Huntress. But then there's Druid coming out of there and being able to do what the Infernalist was doing without ascending. Oh, mate.
Yeah.
But the speed was the other thing that Infernalist had. You know, they could move around and they could get really good survivability too off the energy shield. So I don't know if Mostly Works is going to be able to pull off those things. Speed and survivability too. It's a bit tough.
Yeah. It's definitely tough. But I mean, is a Druid really going to be squishier than a Huntress? I mean, the reality is that if you've got the damage, you can just do what Huntress does. Equip a chest piece for boss fights, have a bunch of different weapon swaps, because that's what Huntress is going to be doing. They're going to have a bunch of different weapon swaps. They're going to be weapon swapping their talismans. There's going to be quite a lot of gear management in Act 3 and Act 4. And they're just going to go. They're going to bolt it. They're not killing any monsters. They're only killing bosses. Maybe you can do that on a Druid too. Who knows? The damage is looking great. Their weapon seems good enough. But if the survivability is similar, maybe this caster setup is going to be working out as well.
This is very interesting here, but this is obviously a pretty good zone for XP for the Huntresses, with their whirlwinds just bouncing off the walls and cleaning up this pretty high density area. So whereas you're kind of just taking out little spots with those grenades, those whirlwinds are just taking out everything. So we're seeing them get a little bit more XP here than you would usually try and do, and maybe that will kind of lessen the amount of work they need to do in the Dreadnought. Whereas the Mercenaries, typically we'll see the Mercenaries farming about 2 levels in the Dreadnought. I don't know what the Huntresses will be doing. I mean, the Dreadnought also seems like a good zone for Huntress, to be fair. I mean, a lot of zones do, to be honest.
You know what Dreadnought is also good for? Skipping.
Yeah.
I think the Huntress is going to skip all of it. They're just going to bolt.
That would be wild.
All the way through.
Yeah, Dreadnought farming has been like a staple of racing for such a long time, like the entire time, basically. So it'll be really interesting to see if that Huntresses skip that, but they almost skipped the boss.
We're about to find out. Both of our Huntresses are level 26 now, so we're getting very close to that level 27 threshold where, they're going to be skipping everything.
Yeah, so I'll tell you
on Torgul. I just want to see the single target. You can see all that chill ground dropping. Torgul manifesting. Very cinematic.
Very dramatically.
How crazy is this going to be? This is a pretty good arena for Twister. Ramping up, 20 different buttons. Oh, he actually messes up. You can see the Twisters were in blue, but the freeze is immediately there, and the damage is coming out. Boom!
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, what you're seeing is lag, viewers, is quite often not actually lag, but rather the players pausing to either checkpoint or to allocate passives, which we don't see because we're not watching their perspective. We're watching them by spying on them in the client, which means we don't see their what their mouse cursor is doing and what their menus and stuff are doing. So if if it looks like it's lagging, it's often the game is pausing, right? So keep that in mind. We don't get quite the one-to-one experience here, but we do have now the ability to look at.
They're also messing with their skill tree, and there's going to be quite a lot of respecking. So whenever they're standing in town, they're not doing a pee break. They're actually playing as quickly as they possibly can, but it unfortunately just doesn't show for us as we've got that exactly happening for 23, who is now in the Dreadnought. I'm not sure. No, okay. I think 23 is quite a ways away. Jiluo just hit 27, I'm pretty sure. So I wonder if the full-on swap is going to be happening now. You're not going to be messing with the passive points just yet. Eventually, you're going to be speccing out of all of the speed nodes and going for all of the damage nodes. But I don't think that's something that they're going to be doing just yet, as you have, well, all of Act 3 and all of Act 4 to get through.
Yeah, so Exile on 23 first into Dreadnought here, with Jiluo just taking a little bit of extra time in town first. I'll tell you what we know from the mercenaries. So the mercenaries typically will try and farm up to level 28.5-ish with Dreadnoughts, and that might be 1 or 2 Dreadnought runs. It used to be that you could reset at the checkpoint and just farm the blue packs, but that has been changed. So now they'll do a full zone reset and kind of run through again. But there's a lot of decisions being made based on whether how your gear is looking and everything as well. But for the Huntresses, yeah, we don't know. They do seem to be clearing their way through, but we'll see if they go for any sort of resets.
It's interesting. I mean, he's kind of clearing on Jiluo, but not really fully. We got a little bit of a pause. He's going for the reset. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wonder. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's already 27. Maybe I missed it. Could be 26.
Let's have a look. Yeah, level 26 currently.
Shows 26, but the ladder is a little bit delayed. So,
Well, I'm looking in game 26 for Jiluo currently.
Oh, okay, okay.
So they are looking for some breakpoints, but it is unclear to me what those breakpoints are at this point. The Huntress is such
It's 27. It's 27 for sure.
Is the 27 for something in particular, though? Because I
think it's just the passive points. The weapon is 26, but I don't think they really care about the weapon. I think it's just trying to min-max your passive points. You've got some really nice nodes with duration and damage, and also there is a accuracy, attack speed, damage to blinded targets, I think, node that they really need to pick up for Tavakai to make sure that they have 100% accuracy. You don't really have to worry about accuracy throughout the run on a Huntress, but because they're going to be doing the bosses, 20 levels below the zone level, that's the point where, some accuracy actually becomes mandatory for these attack abilities, as 23 with 481 life getting chunked by Jamanra, but it's an even battle.
Exile as they move into their second phase. 23 taking down Jamanra super quickly there. Let's see how Exile compares. I don't believe they've had any major upgrades since they picked up that earlier crossbow, so it's falling off a little bit now, but was pretty good at the time. This Jamanra is going down okay here.
Yeah, the damage is looking nice, but again, you did get a lot of the utility.
Yeah, there we go.
Not a lot of the damage. Yeah, well, at least his mana wasn't a problem. Jiluo soon up to Jamanra as well. And yeah, 23 actually did hit level 27 just before Jamanra, so getting ahead of Jiluo there. Looking great. Jiluo beginning his fight, going through a little bit of a dialogue phase as we go for the full screen. You can see in the bottom right also the tiny screen. 23 is going to be doing a nice logout skip, and you can see what kind of effort our players are going through. He's listening to the dialogue from the hooded one right now. And actually, he doesn't go for the lockout. So you can see how much time he's spending running back. Most of our players are going to be skipping that. That's a big
Maybe he doesn't know about that one. Yeah. Maybe doesn't know about that one, or maybe has slightly longer load times. That sometimes can be a factor on those sorts of skips, if it ends up being not faster anyway. Jiluo getting very fast first phased there. We get ready to move into the second phase. I'm sad we haven't seen anyone do the tech where you jump and then you start standing up in the fight in the second phase. Unless they fix that, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if they fixed that, yeah, but that is a pretty cool one. You do save yourself a second or two. And you've got all those spells that he has to cast before. The arena is big, but the twisters with all of the increased
pretty
speed.
Good. Oh,
that's
man.
pretty good for an essentially white weapon that he's using for the next, hour. It's kind of crazy.
I don't know which players know about this or even if it's fully confirmed, but there's this theory that the way that Jamin-Ra is facing will affect how quickly the kill steal sequence begins. So if they're facing down and to the right towards the NPC there, we just had a death down in the corner, did we? Mostly works. Druid, just died in the Dreadnought. Indeed, a super dangerous zone. Getting stuck there. Had managed to get their max health up to 374, but that's compared to 530, 540 for some of the other races here. Again, and just getting absolutely wailed on there.
Jilua also not going for this kick. I wonder if I think the Chinese players don't know about this tech. Interesting. Yeah, really unfortunate for Mostly Works for sure. But I mean, also a little bit, not unexpected.
We'll see over these 3 next qualifiers, we'll probably see a proliferation of all these little things working their way through as people get, a little bit faster and faster and be like, I didn't know about that. Yoink. For sure. But that is indeed a big upset for Mostly Works. They had been keeping up on pure speed and grit and damage, but obviously that survivability was just a ticking time bomb for them and it blew up right in their face there. We might be getting someone else on screen in Mostly Works place soon, though we'll keep a 5th eye on them in the background to see if they can manage to keep up, because I do really hope to see some nice druid action.
Yeah, and as we head over to Act 3, you can already see Jilua went for the swamp. There's going to be quite a lot of inventory management, but you can see pretty much all you're doing till the finish of the race is hopping around in that doggy form, and that's Huntress for you, and she's just kind of crazy. Twister's good. It is kind of important that you kill Root Dredge as you get your first level 9 active gem here. That's going to be Oil Grenade, especially for the Mercenary. So that's something that
23 going for monkey kill.
But I'm sure Mercenary did.
Ooh. Is that a pause? Are they pausing? Checkpoint? Yeah, I think they were a bit sus about eating that slam there. It looked like they were going to dodge it, but they were playing it safe there. Obviously, a slam from the mighty Silver Fist is something to be respected. We have seen
544 life.
He would die. 100%. Is a nice freeze there, but they're not really getting any bounces. They're trying to bounce off that pillar, but it's just not working. They're going in all different directions. So it's a bit of a slow and steady Silver Fist kill, but they do get it on their second attempt there. Nicely done.
Okay.
We are seeing more players go for Silver Fist. I haven't even seen the most do it as well. Just those extra passives. It can be pretty quick to do. It's slightly less risky than it used to be, but still a little bit dangerous. That's a nice freeze there. Better positioning for Jiluo, and Silver Fist is going down a bit faster than 23s did. Pretty good positioning. Trying to bait out that slam there. We've got the spin slam and gets the kill before that goes down, so no worries at all for Jiluo. Very clean Silver Fist kill.
Drops a level 9 gem, but doesn't need it. He's already got everything that he needs. But at this stage also, you can see him kind of jumping sideways, searching a little bit for something. He's looking for a rare mob. He's going to be using Tame Beast, I would expect at least. And that Tamed Beast will be something that our Huntress players, especially maybe some of our other players also, are going to be utilizing for single target. It can be beneficial because obviously a Tamed Beast can have an aura that can give you either damage or defenses, but it's a little bit risky also, because you have to keep in mind that that beast can be targeted by the boss, and maybe if you unfortunately dodge towards your beast and you get hit by an attack that was meant for it, but really, it just one-shots you, that can also hurt you. But for min-maxing, it's a big deal. The Ferocious Roar coming out from Woodish on the Mercenary and a clean kill,
really good kill
on the Monkey.
Oh yeah, and EXILE's getting simultaneously a very good one there as well. Although needs to get that kill before the slam goes down. There just manages to pull it off as well. Very nice. Some tight, exciting timing for us here on these Monkey kills. All 4 players successfully getting the Monkey kills with no Monkey Slam deaths to speak of. Wow.
Yeah, it's also important that in Jungle Ruins, for the Mercenaries, you do the League mechanic, because you get a guaranteed tier 3 support gem. It's the first one you've got available, and that's going to allow them access to Deliberation, so a pretty major damage gem for the Mercenaries. Again, not really something that the Huntresses have to worry about. They're just doggy form, jumping around, trying to get through all of this as quickly as possible. But honestly, even compared to some of the runs that I've seen from Huntresses, either from last season or some of the hidden VODs that I've managed to detect, they don't have a lot of HP. They have a lot less HP than I've seen in a lot of the personal best runs. So, I wonder.
Yeah, so
we
for
did expect that it's
benchmarking,
going to be rippy, but it's going to be a lot more rippy this time around.
so you have a bit of an idea. Like right now, the Huntresses and the Mercenaries are pretty similar in the like defenses, in the life totals at least. Mercenaries typically going to have a bit of armor, which is going to help them. But
and real quick, sorry, Ziggy, just take a look at where they're going to be positioning the boss on the Huntress. They go towards the exit, and you can see this little corridor.
They're pulling out
they switch on over to the Twister to spawn the Tame Beast.
That's so
and
cool.
This is where you're going to be seeing the damage.
Yeah, I expect that's going to be pretty strong in there. Yep, that's pretty good. Damn, okay. The Mercenaries can get an instant single phase, but it's actually dependent more on whether the Chimera just kind of does the right thing. If they go for an Ice Breath, it takes a really long time to wind up. So
you can see the difference. 23 messed up, didn't quite position it well. The Tame Beast maybe isn't nearly as strong, and goes into that pillar phase. Look, you can see how much slower this is. I mean, this is crazy. Yes. It's so much slower.
Oof. It was painful after I saw the last one.
Yep.
That hurts.
It's a huge time sink. That's a big
for the
difference.
Mercenaries, they're going to be hoping that Chimera is going into the Frost Breath immediately, because that allows them to get a one phase skip if they have any reasonable amount of damage right now, as that ability takes a long time to wind up. So we'll see if Exile gets some level of luck here. Let's see, what have we got? Is that indeed, that's going into the slam. So no Frost Breath right off the bat, but it does get down the stun. We'll see if we can get a kill here before they go on a pillar. Unfortunately, not. No, it's not what Exile was looking for there. Has to prep and take down that pillar. Going to take things a little bit longer. Should be a faster second phase here than what we saw on the Huntress.
Oh no!
As you can
Did 23 just die? No. Wait, is he dead? I think he died.
No,
okay. He managed to just barely log out. Oh,
just a bit of a checkpoint reset there, a bit of a dodgy one. It looks like.
Yeah, that was.
Was that like? Yeah, that was a miss on the on the wing blast there. Unfortunately, Exile gets it on the second try. They're trying to get that wing blast stun down, but does not manage to get on that first go. All right, Exile gets through their kill, and we'll have Woodish come up to their Chimera here in just a moment, so we may be able to focus them production as we see how if their Chimera goes any better. This is, I believe, the sort of thing that doesn't get seeded.
On some of the tiny windows also. I was just going to mention that on some of the tiny windows, you can see that there's a cool skip. You know those roots that block you in the corridors? You can actually jump past them with pounce or really any movement ability, as you can see on Exile's screen just now. So a big time save there that you can go for in this zone in particular.
No, if Huntress can do that. Oh, well, they can use Talisman or something, but they typically have both double spears right now. I'm not sure if...
No. Take a look, Ziggy, because they've... As I mentioned, they're going to be swapping out chess pieces for bosses, but they're also swapping out 3 different sets of weapons, and it's very important that you use that Talisman. You're just constantly rotating that. Because
you gotta take advantage of that
on a Mercenary... You don't need 2 sets of weapons, right? So you just use Talisman, you just use a crossbow, but you need a Twister weapon. Well, okay, there are things that they're going to be doing later, but for right now, on Huntress, you need the Twister weapon, you need a Whirling Slash weapon, and you need that Talisman for the Hippity Hoppity.
Hippity Hop, that's right. Zigguatl for Jilawu here. This is a boss that usually goes down very fast on the Mercs, and this is a pretty fast kill here, but no, definitely not the craziest we've seen. You get one, I don't know if it's even too close to the wall for the bounce, right? Like, that might be too close.
Yeah, it's too close. I think so, too.
So it's just normal single hits of damage there, but still decent.
You can see that 23 went for the big skip, so sometimes in this zone, you're going to notice the way that you generally do this zone, if you want to do it, is that you go one side, you do the core, and then sometimes the middle can be blocked, so you spawn back. And when you spawn back and you do the second core, you have to wait for that pesky line to get all the way to the boss. Some players go for the checkpoint skip, right? And then they have to wait on the boss. You can reset a checkpoint again, and that way the line will be instantaneous, and you can spawn the boss instantaneously, and then kill it, hopefully quickly, like 23 is doing so. And
roughly the same
that was
there.
pretty decent. Jiluo all the way in the waterways already. Again, not really much that you have to worry about. Just going doggy form, skipping everything, stepping on those platforms, and not having to pull any levers anymore. Thank God. Thank you for that change. GGG.
So EXILE's health is a little bit low for where the mercenaries want to be here. As they get towards Matland Waterways, if they aren't approaching that 700 life range, they're really just kind of hoping to get some lucky exalts or some rune upgrades to get them over that mark. 700 being a really important life breakpoint for the mercenaries, because that's where you basically don't get one shot by a lot of Tavakai abilities. So they really want to try and push for that as much as possible. And definitely, if I was on EXILE right now, I might be concerned about where his health is, and I might have to have a look at his inventory to see if he's got anything bankrolled for later. Woodish is in a little bit of a better state here, but let's see how that Zikawaddle kill goes for EXILE here.
Pre-prepping those gas grenades, making sure to optimize every aspect of the fight. A nice stun comes out. But will this be enough to kill it within the stun? Not quite. The 20% shock definitely helping. 14% on the freeze. We're not going to be seeing any freezes coming out from the mercenaries. The boss dies. Decent. Comparable?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, comparable, I think. But I've definitely seen faster mercenaries, and I don't believe EXILE, take a look in game, but I don't believe EXILE's had any big up. No, they're still on that same varnished crossbow. And this was a very good varnished crossbow, but this is not exactly what you want to be on for the rest of the race. Let me see what they've got. They do have an alloy. They've got an alloy lined up, though. Okay.
Yeah.
That looks promising. Well, that's the level 30.
Ziggy, I think if you were to ask EXILE if he thinks his weapon is good, I don't think he would agree with you.
Well, he's got an alloy lined up here that is okay.
That one sucks too.
Oh, I can't see his DPS in game. Oh,
I can't see the DPS, but I can see the crossbow. This thing sucks.
Yeah, the 1500 is kind of the iffy range if you're around there. You can make it work, but it's not ideal. You certainly want to be a bit above that, but I can't quite see where they're at there. Yeah, this is what they've got to work with at the moment. So they've got that early crossbow, but is that even an upgrade over the varnished crossbow?
I mean, it is better, but
it's just a little bit.
It's rough.
Yeah,
I don't think he's happy with the run. But that's the risk with the mercenary.
Mods and attack speed. I was like, okay, but yep, no, not quite enough. A bit low on the rolls there. So the big thing is those level 31 affixes are twice as good as the level 16 affixes. So it's a huge difference in damage. You know, you may be getting like 50% more damage if you manage to get some of those affixes to roll.
Yep.
But that alloy was an early pickup. It's an item level 30 base.
Damn. So nice damage from Woodish. I think Woodish has a twice as good weapon as EXILE.
I need to have a look at Woodish. Let me go have a look. Because that was definitely twice as good. So this might be where Woodish is at. Let's take a look at Woodish here. They have we're loading. We have a varnished crossbow here that is decent, but again, that's the varnished crossbow, so that's the item level 16 one. So they don't have anything banked in their inventory for bigger damage rolls. There's no there's no level 31 crossbow waiting in their inventory at all there. So where is that extra damage coming from? They have a pretty good ring and pretty good gloves, so maybe just that, ultimately.
Wait, what? What am I seeing? Ziggy, are we looking at the same thing? Woodish just level 16 crossbow is insane.
Yeah, but it's still the level 16 crossbow.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good. It's like, it really is almost twice as good as EXILE.
Yeah, but imagine that with twice as much on the damage rolls.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course.
That's what you really want.
Absolutely.
It is an almost ideal level 16 crossbow, but we're far away from level 16 here. 28.
For mercenaries, because of how long... For mercenaries, because of how long you're spending on this varnished crossbow, that really is kind of the make or break for their runs. That level 16 really does determine quite a lot. Obviously, we want a good crossbow for bossing, but you know, we're already an hour and 30 in. We're ending around 2 hours. You just spend so much time. You really need a good weapon in Act 2. And I think for both Woodish and EXILE, it hasn't quite been there. But we've already seen some of our players get past the Drowned City, now heading over to a very dangerous boss, the Baby Eater, the Queen of Filth, with a double
A good
swing,
arena,
very
right?
dangerous attack. But yeah, it's a decent arena for Huntress for sure. Trying to pop those mushrooms without taking as much damage as possible. The freeze, you can
There we
see,
go.
making a big difference. And the thing is too
Does
that
eat some damage.
they're dealing like triple the damage whenever the boss is frozen. That's really the state that you want to get a boss to. I don't think I've seen any essences drop in the Drowned City. I believe that's the first zone where you can start getting essences, which do help quite a lot with itemization. You can see a nice skip over here, so a lot of players will portal out and run down the stairs to get to the Temple of Kopek, but our speedrunners will just go back to the waypoint with the checkpoint. With the waypoint, they're going to go back to the previous zone, which will then allow them to go into the Temple of Kopek by spawning at the bottom there. So a nice skip, and also something really cool in this zone that players have discovered somewhat recently. In the Temple of Kopek, apparently the exit directly away from the door, so the furthest that you can go, has a higher percentage chance to be actually the exit. There you go. He's going to find it immediately. So it is not random. It's about 50 to 60% more likely to be there. If you don't get it, then you spawn back. And you can see that he jumped over that little gap in the ground that breaks away from the center. The exit to the next zone will always be where that little break in the floor is. So if you're ever frustrated that you can't find the exit of Temple of Kopek, it is not random. The second floor is guaranteed where it's going to be, and the second one you can heavily increase your odds. As the freeze comes out immediately, and Katsuli will not be standing a chance. As I say that, the boss actually is going to die.
Yeah.
So
that could be a tricky one on the
see.
mercs because of the grenades and it moving around unexpectedly sometimes. Yes. But that is a bit easier on the Huntress, isn't it? So I'm taking a look at EXILE. I was able to get their damage up. So they have 1,468 damage on explosive, which is low.
Woodish didn't know about the skip, and he actually... Oh, no, Woodish is not even past Drowned City yet. Oh, wow. So he's really heavily fallen behind now as EXILE trying to keep up on the mercenary, but still quite a ways away from the Huntresses. Wow, okay. Man, the Huntresses are really breaking away. Again, they don't have to kill anything. So they're just going to be running directly at the boss. And for the sake of the mercenaries, hopefully they're going to have a few rips, either prior or on Tavakai.
I don't know. It's looking a little dodgy. So we've got 650 health for EXILE, and the damage is less than 1,300. Like 1,500 is like a bare minimum, I feel. So that's really going to be rough for EXILE. We're going to be seeing that's a start. That's where you maybe even start to get into mana problems on Doriani, which is not where you want to be. So I'm very concerned about the position of the two mercenary players. Widish was a bit higher damage, around 1,400, but still, that's too low. That's too low. They really need some sort of upgrades here, and I don't know how they're going to get it.
Nice dodges from EXILE, gets the vulnerability spawn, so that would be very dangerous, but he manages to get out of the way from the double roll. An incredibly dangerous attack. There's the temporal chains. Yeah, he's having to keep his distance. Didn't quite manage to kill her in the stun. The double roll comes out, does dodge right there. And a nice kill. Also, he's going to be hopefully going for the skip. Waiting for the loot. Okay, yeah, he has to get it. And now you can see he goes back to the checkpoint. He goes back to the waypoint. He uses the waypoint to go back to the other waypoint. Goes back into the other zone. And yeah, that will let him skip.
We need to focus the Viper fight here. Down there. Let's go over to that. Sure. 23 had a death. Was it to the boss? What happened there?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine it. This is a really dangerous boss. This is by far some people will think that Viper is the more dangerous boss of Act 3, but our players are so familiar with the Viper boss fight.
Yeah, that secures Jilu's fight there. Viper is still a pretty challenging fight for a lot of builds. I don't know how the Huntress goes here. It's a good arena for it, obviously. Viper has two different phases where she floats in the air, one immune and one not immune, and there are some ways of kind of gaming that a little bit that players are starting to figure out, and I'm not sure
this damage is not good. He forgot about the War Banner, doesn't kill the boss within the freeze, might get an invulnerability phase here, which shouldn't be dangerous, but it's a lot of time spent.
Might be able to just barely pull it off. Oh, okay. Gets the
Kills
kill.
It on the second freeze.
Right at the end there. That was like really kind of tempting fate for the immunity phase, which would have cost quite a bit of extra time. But that means Jilu has secured themselves a very nice lead here over 23 off the back of their death. So the Huntress race is currently tilted heavily in favor of Jilu, and overall, obviously, looking very good there. I'm Exile now, just starting Ketsuli. So it's got a bit of catching up to do.
Jiluo is playing it not just ridiculously well, they're playing it safe. He's playing it really safe. He was killing mobs leading up to Viper, which you don't get any XP, you don't get any items from that, but he's still killing all of the monsters. You can get the additional passive points on the way there if you kill the big boys in that zone, same as the zone that he is in right now.
Good Ketsuli.
But he's mostly killing because that zone is dangerous. And yeah, nice kill from Exile as Jiluo is looking so strong. I mean, it is ridiculous what he's doing here. Honestly, super well played. And none of the bosses have been looking threatening to him so far. As you can see, the other Huntress, 23, does die to the big lady. Woodish, will he have a nice clean kill as Jiluo is already approaching Doriani? Oh man, immediately he moves away from the gas grenade.
He used that damage buff too low there. I think maybe the power charges were about to expire, but he didn't really get that damage buff to land for the initial grenades.
I think we should look at 23. Honestly, another boss fight. This is the boss that killed him just a second ago. Woodish manages to take down his got it. Boss
in the bag. Let's have a look at 23.
Has to go through the entire animation again.
Queen of Filth. That's a lot of barraged whirlwinds right there.
He's standing in the enfeeble. Okay, manages to get out. But for the entirety of the freeze duration, he didn't drop the war banner and he was standing in the enfeeble. 23,
okay,
looking
but
shaky.
That was much more comfortable though. A Divine Orb.
Nice Divine Orb. It's a big deal. There's a big roll variance on the spears in particular. So you can actually utilize this Divine Orb to really improve your level 21 weapon.
It could be just like, yep, let's just make that attack speed a bit faster or something.
Okay, here we go. Laser skip. This is what we're looking for. You want the big freeze. Ooh, really bad. That's not good.
Not even on the release. That entire
he might actually look at what he's doing. He's actually waiting. He's not attacking the boss because he's waiting for the boss to move a little bit further
get away from that
so
wall.
He can get the big war banner, get the freeze, and have the laser skip. Better. Is he going to be able to get it? No, he didn't.
Oh, that's rough.
Wow. Okay, so if he manages to not spawn the lasers, he saves himself like 15 seconds. But if the lasers spawn, the boss has to go through the entire animation to transition into the next phase. So what Jiluo wanted to do was pull the boss a little bit from the wall, have a big pre-stack for Twister, and then immediately shoot all of them out, do a chunk of damage, freeze the boss, and kill him with that freeze to avoid this laser phase. That's what all of our players are going to be trying to do. The Huntresses with the freeze, and the mercenaries with the stun, but he doesn't manage to get it here, and it heavily extends his Doriani phase.
Yes. Exile gets their Viper kill down in one clean phase there. No immunity phase. Very nice. Woodish is about to start their Viper. As Jiluo moves into second phase, Doriani, a much bigger target here for those whirlwinds and much more optimally placed. I expect this is going to be a very fast kill right here. Oh yeah, that freeze takes them down most of the way, and just finishing up that last little bit of health bar.
Nice.
The boss got to do one ability. Yep.
Woodish on fast. Viper.
Let's see how Woodish just goes. Woodish has a bit better damage than Exile. Exile did manage to pull off the insta phase there. The stun timing is important here, actually. If you want to stun her early so that she doesn't get her stun immunity when the damageable floating phase begins. But if you stun her later in the phase, she might just go right into an immunity phase. But in this case here, right, obviously we go into an immunity phase for Woodish. So a bit unfortunate as the arena gets a bit smaller here, but does have a stun come out very fast there. And hopefully that's enough to take them the rest of the way down this health bar. The stun on the mercenary is very strong and fairly controllable with that flash grenade usage, but has to sit through another immune here. Rough. Woodish just not quite putting out enough damage on Viper here to get through this so quickly. The longest Viper we've had.
Yeah, and is that a third one? He actually gets a third phase.
Oh no! They really can't get any smaller.
Terrible.
Oh no. Okay, good dodging though. Impeccable dodging. Okay. Flask is still at halfway. We've seen plenty of players die to Viper in the past. Thankfully, she is damageable there and does manage to get that kill, but that took a solid extra 30 seconds or something. That is not really what Woodish wants here in the battle. to try and get through this act a little bit faster, catch up to EXILE and maybe potentially the Huntress Giluo, but Giluo is securing even more and more of a lead over time here, barring any potential upsets. So we've moved on to the next act entirely and are getting onto the first island for Giluo. The prison, some nice leaping action there.
Huge
That's some leap slam. Interesting swap to leap slam here for the mercenary. So leap slam and disengage for mobility. That's a lot of damage taken there. 600 health for Giluo. It's a little bit low, but this is what we expected, that the Huntresses would become quite squishy towards the end of the race. So this is where the Huntress deaths maybe happen. But I believe Giluo is deathless so far. 23's had a few.
Yeah.
And that has knocked them out of the running as Luxian has taken over their slot in the 4th camera place over there, also on a Huntress.
And yeah, 600 HP is extremely low. He really doesn't seem to have a whole lot of HP gear. You can see some nice skips there throughout this prison layout. 800 is about what I've seen a lot of our players have at this stage of the game. So 600, not quite there. EXILE fighting his boss. I think he had a laser skip. I'm not 100%.
Most players can get it pretty consistently around that 1500 damage range, but EXILE's a little shy of that, so I'm not entirely sure, but it does move into the second phase now regardless. Let's see how that one goes. Getting everything buffed up. Hopefully some nice big damage for EXILE here. Gets that stun down. Now's the time for big damage.
The ferocious roar coming out a little bit late.
Yeah, it's not going to be quite clean on that one yet. EXILE has hit that level 31 breakpoint now, has all the nice grenades, does do a nice dodge roll through the butt laser, and survives. No butt laser deaths here for EXILE. Pretty clean. Giluo dying.
Giluo actually dead. I was about to say, I think we should focus on Giluo because
this time, yep. Let's have a look here. That is death in the prison there. We were just saying, Caster cursed it a little bit, maybe. But it's from this point that we start to see things get a bit shakier for the Huntresses. But they've just been so skilled in their movements and play so far that, like, I was starting to believe the claims of deathless practice runs. But even though it seems,
how did this happen though? This is very surprising. Okay, so the big thing about the layout that he was in is that you want to switch to the ocean side because that allows you to skip the entire middle part, which leads to a lot of dead ends and something that you don't really want to worry about, right? You're trying to get through the zone as quickly as possible. Another big element is that whenever those waves come in, the majority of mobs in this zone have like an 80% damage reduction. So you're really not killing any monsters. You can't really get stunned because you're just dodging in dog form, and he was practically on top of a checkpoint. So what could have possibly happened here? Maybe we're going to be able to get some form of a replay, or man, that's crazy. Either way, I do think that we should focus a little bit more on Giluo because he is just so far ahead of everybody else, and these zones he's just getting through them
with Luxian as well. We'll go to the 4-way view, I think, for a little while.
Yeah.
Udish does get their kill down pretty nicely there, and Luxian moving into their second phase. On the Huntress, let's see how they kill. We saw a very fast Huntress kill on Giluo for Doriani, and it looks like similar sort of thing occurring here. That freeze goes down, and some nice big damage. And yeah, that's very fast there. Maybe not quite as fast as what Giluo had.
Couple interesting things that are happening. EXILE's catching up. Giluo is still having to go through 30 excruciating seconds of sitting around.
That 2.5 minute death penalty. Feeling really long right now.
The Volcanic Warrens is kind of an interesting zone because you can find a shrine in here, and there's also an event with 2 golems where the last golem that you kill will drop a ring. So it might be something that some of our players are going to be going for, but I think EXILE knows the position that he's in, and he's just going to try to get through to the boss as quickly as possible. And he's doing just that, as the boss should be on his screen in just a second. Giluo now able to move. Woodish manages to pick up the chart. A really big thing is that you don't pick up the chart from Rog, because if you do, you have to wait for him to waddle all the way to his station, and that can cost you a lot of time.
Not what you want. No.
Yeah. EXILE fighting his boss now, positioning him next to the wall, trying to maximize the amount of grenades that he's got. He does pick up a little bit of AoE on his passive tree, which allows him for a better overlap on those grenades, but you still want to be able to position bosses in the correct spot. Gets the stun there. Honestly,
it's really
perfect
good
play for Exile. This is
yeah.
so cleanly done. The damage might not look as impressive as the Twister, but the play, my God, Exile really showing up here.
I've been seeing this a bit here from Exile. Like, despite the low damage that they're suffering, they're like playing their boss fight really well. It took a little bit longer at the end there. Gilo going very low on the prisoner. Gilo also almost choking as well after having a deathless run, getting one death earlier in this zone. Almost suffered an upset on the prisoner here, but does manage to stabilize, get their health back up there, getting ready for that ballista usage.
So interesting too, a different approach to the progression. I don't think that Juluo has done his warrants yet. So as he's fighting the prisoner, that allows Exile an opportunity to catch up. And I mean, Exile's not getting XP either anymore. He is just trying to progress as well. So I don't know. That rip might be everything for Juluo. There is...
Yeah, that was a gap closer for sure. I love it. I love that for us. It's making things much more exciting as things get really close for him here. Exile, though, is not really... Like, he's having a rough run for a mercenary, though. The damage is low, the health is low. He's at 650 max health, really wants to be at 700. Hopefully gets, like, a rune upgrade or an exalt or something to be able to secure that. And that damage just basically can't be helped at this point, so he's just going to have to make do with it, and that's really going to hurt on Tavakai. A lot more room for things to go wrong, so he's got an uphill battle here, but he's doing the uphill battle.
Luxian died as well. Another Huntress falls.
It's all on Juluo now for the Huntress representation, it seems. Juluo versus Exile seems to be the race that we're watching here, but there's still plenty of room for changes, and Woodish is not too far behind.
Yeah, look, Woodish really caught up. That rip from Juluo, it might be everything. I mean, obviously, listen, we still have Tavakai. We have Benedictus. We even have Torvian. Okay, these are scary fights that can absolutely kill our players. Juluo kind of died early.
Woodish, I have to say, very impressed by Woodish. This is the first time we've seen them doing a Path of Exile race. Let's just remember that fact right here. And they've been on stream for the most of the... Oh, Exile! He's got... He saw it through! That was insane! I cannot believe he didn't checkpoint there.
I was about to glaze Exile, so this is his first PoE2 race as well, and he shows up immediately. That was a crazy place to not log out at. I was certain he's gonna go for a reset.
Deal. Oh my lord.
And the split-second decision, he didn't think about it long at all. He's like, you know what, I'm fine. And just immediately end bosses.
Reasonable checkpoint reset there. Most players would have, but... Maybe there's some awareness of the fact that, like, I have to play super aggressive here if I'm going to overtake Juluo and secure this win. Because that's what it's all about getting in that qualifier, right? You just need that fastest time. Play the risk. No point second.
And it's the first one. We've got a lot of good players, and there's 4 qualifiers. Maybe this first one, when you've got all of those hidden strategies coming out, this is the one to really go crazy in, right?
Yeah,
you can't afford to fail. You've got 3 more.
For sure, you play super risky.
But I mean, it works out. I think Exile is ahead. I mean, they're both fighting their boss right now, but you have to keep in mind that Exile has already done Juluo's zone, and Juluo has already done Exile's zone.
They've gone alternate directions here. So we're actually seeing like a really cool like side-by-side bossing of the alternate bosses. It's interesting how that worked out there.
But the prisoner takes longer. You have to go through the transition phases. You have to shoot those ballistas. Exile is positioning the boss perfectly to allow himself to stand exactly where the ballista is, which will allow him to immediately click it and take the boss. He stands a little bit far away. This boss can be dangerous. There is 1 or 2 one-shot mechanics, which I think Luxian suffered. That's exactly what got him killed. So... yeah, Exile still, as much as we're saying that they're taking risks, they're still kind of playing it safe.
I'm going to have a look at
nice kill from
Exile's going.
Okay, what shrine are we getting? Because there is a guaranteed shrine in Shrike Island, which Juluo is going to be looking at. If it's a good shrine, he's going to leave it and using it to at the checkpoint at the boss to go back and pick it up. But I haven't seen the shrine yet. I think it does spawn somewhere close, so he's most likely already seen it. Maybe we're going to be seeing it on Exile screen, as this is a fixed seed, so they have not just the same layouts, but also the same shrines with the same modifier, I believe. So what kind of shrine are we going to be having here? Ooh, Exile getting a little bit lost.
This is really interesting too. Exile's gone for Leap Slam for their like sprint. So this is the sprint phase of the race, right? Players are not interested in killing unless they absolutely have to. In fact, many of the strategies will involve literally de-equipping your damage-dealing weapons. So right now, Exile has a talisman for movement and a mace for Leap Slam. But this is interesting because many mercenaries are doing escape shot as their like mobility skill of choice and having that bow, but Exile does not have a bow, no escape shot. Escape shot is really good for not getting body blocked in the later stages of this area, especially that final zone leading up to Tavakai.
There is a big element here that we've mentioned, but we have to talk about, which is Torvian. A lot of our players are using a bow, and they were picking up a bow in Act 1, trying to get a fast attack speed 1. And the reason for that was because there was a Torvian skip. Torvian is an extremely dangerous boss, as Exile actually really struggling with this layout. Man, he's taking a lot of time getting through this zone.
Yeah, that has been fixed, though. The Torvian skip.
But finishing up, the Torvian skip has been fixed, but a lot of our players are still used to using a bow. And the big thing is that
you practiced it.
Huntress has a really good arena for fighting Torvian. Unfortunately, there's the shrine. He's going to pick it up immediately as it's chill. Okay, I can't finish the sentence. Torvian is scary for mercenary. I mean, it's scary for everybody, but it's scary for mercenary because it's very difficult to do damage. He moves around a lot. He's got a lot of HP. You have to do the mechanic, which we're going to be explaining when we get there. But for Huntress, it's a perfect arena. Huntress does a ton of damage in the Torvian fight. So a lot of our players are used to using bows because of that escape shot mechanic. And I think a lot of our Huntresses also just haven't practiced Torvian. They practice the skip. But with the change that happened literally yesterday, I know immediately all of our mercenaries started practicing Torvian. So I wonder if that's going to come into play, not just because of the familiarity with the bow and the strategies that they've been using all along, but also, sure, Huntress does a good job killing Torvian, but
good
if Torvian kills you, I mean, well, actually, Exile manages to get there pretty
so
nicely,
close,
even though he got lost a little bit.
Exile starts the fight right as Jilu finishes it. Oh, that race is closing.
This is a scary fight. Also, you can definitely get one shot here with 2 different abilities.
Very fast, despite their lower damage here. Exile's not really managed to secure much in the way of upgrades, but he is getting that kill pretty quick there.
Big bird down. Wait, he's fighting the little bird. Exile, get out of there. You don't have to kill that. Poor little fledgling mommy. It's over.
See, 650 health is not going to be securing any upgrades there. There is, looking at the inventory, there's no body runes to get any extra life. So 650 health is going to be what I believe. Oh, there's still one chance. There's exalts in this zone. There's guaranteed exalts in this zone. That's Exile's last chance to secure another 50 health. One big exalt slam could make all the difference because, those deaths on the Tavakai fight, those will shake the race up, that's for sure. And an extra 50 health will just stop you from getting one shot by some of those mechanics. So
again, we're talking about Tavakai, but Torvian and Benedictus have claimed, I think, a comparable amount of life.
I think the mercenaries are getting pretty good at those fights now. It seems to be Tavakai that's really still giving people grief. But you're right. We've seen some big upsets on those ones in the past.
For sure. I mean, one of the practice runs that I've seen from the top Huntress PB was actually a death on Tavakai. On Benedictus. So definitely still something. It's one of those things too where the more you do a fight, the more familiar you become with it. The confidence kind of takes over, and it can be one of those situations where our players just underestimate something like that. It's kind of like the monkey. It's so easy to dodge the monkey slam, but also at the same time, anybody can get hit by the monkey slam. So I think for Benedictus, it's a similar situation. Our players practiced a lot, but anybody can die to that boss. It can just get so ridiculous with a certain combination of attacks. The triple Exalted Orbs has been picked up by the Huntress. Let's see if
Exile on the Mercenary goes for it as well.
No time for be doing essences. The Leap Slam was really good in this zone, actually. Like, yeah, you're not dealing with Pounce's cooldown or trying to jump up those railings. You can just Leap Slam them all like this, just like because I was doing right now. Skipping down to that bell. There's those 3 exalts. I'm going to be watching to see what gets exalted here. They've been used. I didn't see, but we don't get to see their mouse cursor, so let me have a look. 700 health! They did it! They just like triple slammed it on, I want to say, where did that go? On the gloves, maybe? Possibly the ring?
Okay, the Torvian fight is up, and he's already dealt with the first mechanic. So the thing about Torvian is that you want to throw the big rocks from Torvian at the right and the left platform especially, because one of them gives ailment immunity, I believe the left one, and the right one gives damage reduction. So you want to make sure that you disable those casters, and you can see him do it on the right platform right there once again, and he immediately drops the war banner to try to do as much damage as possible. I gotta say, this isn't looking as quick as I thought it's going to be. This is taking a while.
Like, he's kind of a small dude, so the whirlwinds, the twisters can just miss sometimes, right? That was a pretty good chunk of damage there, but yeah, then we see like phases here where it's like,
Exile is in,
everything's missing, Exile starting to
fight.
No!
Disaster for Exile. He actually throws the rock before the mechanic even begins. There is a little bit of a wind up there. So
slows him down a little bit.
Isn't cooperating. I mean, is it just me, or is Exile killing it faster? He's killing it faster.
He is. Like, he's catching up in the fight. Crazy.
Guys, the big drama was that the recent fix was worse for mercenaries than it was for huntresses. So that was like the big drama. But I gotta say, the mercenary so far is looking good. Obviously, there's still the mechanic that you have to deal with. Things have to line up for you. But Jiluo took quite a while to kill the boss. Big stun coming out from Exile. A huge chunk of HP taken away from Torvian.
Yeah, rock throw here.
Coming out.
Nice.
Oh, he tanks it.
Yeah, as long as it hits the scaffolding as well to disable that buff, you're okay. It's getting some nice damage on there as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's the kill speed maybe is pretty similar in the end. Hard to judge.
He dropped super low. There's the damage reduction. The stun is in. He's not doing the mech.
He's got it, and he's at the doorway and ready to go right away. Does not wait for any loot or anything like that. It's time to go. Those 3 exalts really came in clutch for him. That was such a huge deal. Those guaranteed exalts did so much work for him.
Woodish just got up.
Wow.
Man.
I'm so impressed by Woodish's run here. This is insane.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Because Woodish started practicing recently. So you know how a lot of these players practice Act 1, 2, and 3 because that's all that was available previously. Woodish started practicing when Act 4 was available. So maybe he's got an even amount of practice throughout all these acts. And that's why his Act 4 is good. Benedictus.
See. That's a theory. That's an interesting theory. Yeah, this is so much closer. Like this at this point, that means if Jiluo and Exile suffer a death, we're just right there waiting to qualify for EXILECON. And to do that,
I want to believe.
Oh mate, that'd be so exciting.
This looks rough. Look at Jiluo. His damage is not up to par. Huge slam coming out from Benedictus. Damn, nice dodge from Jiluo. Well played there, but he's not going to be able to do damage in this phase. He has to wait for the maze.
Oh, we just know! Our hopes and dreams. Spoiled by one
immediate death.
Oh, no.
Jiluo gets the phase.
Such a good run he's having. Up until that very moment. That is rough. All right, Jiluo gets...
Can Jiluo kill it?
So he's doing a lot of phases here. He's doing a lot of phases.
He's doing a lot. Yeah,
this is grenades where he knows he's going to be.
Both of them are pretty much getting one shot by like 90% of Benedictus's attacks. Nice dodges so far from both of our players. I gotta say, not a clean fight from Jiluo. He drops low.
He's got the freeze on the boss though, is he? Yeah, no, he's okay.
But it's not going to be enough.
Oh, big damage on those bounces though. That was the exact spot where he needed him because he gets like that whole fight was so slow to that very point. Wait, did Exile reset? Oh no! Yeah.
He's looking for the shrine.
Looking so good at the start there too.
Wait, what's happening?
Well, I don't think he can get the shrine again if he picked it up before. He's done. It's a one and done for that one.
But we missed something. Why did he run
Yeah,
out and
I
run
mean,
back
I think
in?
he might have just came too close to dying or something. He might have just botched it.
No. But why would he start killing monsters and then go back in?
I do not know what happened there,
Maybe
but he's doing a lot of damage now, though. It's coming down. That's a good first phase for this.
Some gem build up or something. That was extremely unusual.
He might have ducked out to get some power charges for the rend buff. So
yeah, maybe.
Oh man, look at that damage. That is very nice. Just got to prep those grenades. Unfortunately, has to do his maze here, so immunity phase for him. I'm Exile, hopefully securing this in one grenade rotation at the very end here. No rend buff or anything active now, though, so back to base damage. And there's the Benedictus. Now, I want to see if I'm Exile knows about this skip, because you can pounce through the door as it's opening, and that skips the slow walking phase and lets you teleport out with a portal, which you can't normally do. So it's not quite a full flashbang skip, but a partial flashbang skip has been discovered.
Jiluo didn't do it.
Yeah, Jiluo didn't do it, and I don't know if I'm Exiled. They're like sitting there in wolf form, so we'll see if... Nah, it looks like going to be slow walking. I don't think... They don't know about it. They don't know about it.
Wow, I'm surprised.
I feel a little bad now for maybe spoiling the strategy for people that might not have seen it, but at this point, everyone's streaming. They're going to be studying each other's VODs. It's going to be discovered either way. Oh, wait, I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because see how he can just move as fast as he wants and then stand at the edge of each platform? Perfect.
Yes.
So, and the other part of this, in addition, you don't have to do the like slow walking dialogue. You can just leap straight through here and start it sooner, but you can also open a portal right there ahead of time.
I was about to say,
earlier.
because one of the VODs where I saw the strategy got sent to me by Exile. So I'm like, why? What is happening? Like, how can he not know when he's the one who sent it to me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. That's a really good one, because this was one of the longest sequences of lore stuff in the entire race, and it was just unskippable, thought to be unskippable for this whole time, but finally someone discovered something there. Not sure who originally discovered that one.
Woodish is back in. Whole New Society just killed Benedictus. Nicely done by Whole New Society.
Very good. Whole New Society taking over from Woodish then.
He's showing
as our third place player. Woodish.
And hey, if you're not here for this,
down.
If you're not here for just the speedrunning, but also you just want to learn how to progress in the zone that they're in right now, the league mechanic gives you a guaranteed fight link, guys. So just, find the find the thing and get your 5 link. Our players can't use it because it's level 45 and everybody's like 40 levels under the zone level. But if you're just doing regular progression, hey, here's something that you can do. There's going to be a lot of respecking coming up for our Huntresses. They're going to be getting rid of a lot of these movement speed nodes, these sprint nodes, and they're going to be picking up damage to make their boss fight a little bit easier as we head over to the biggest danger, Tavakai. With only 630 life for Jiluo right now, will be equipping a chess piece, so that will be helping him a little bit. 700 for Exile. And this one, I gotta say, Jiluo is a lot more likely to die compared to Mercenary.
Well,
he is
Mercenary without escape shot has a bit of a tougher time here if they get body blocked. Jiluo, meanwhile, has the disengage, which is similar to escape shot, in that it really shrinks it down and lets you get through a lot of body block scenarios. And Jiluo's movement through this zone has been really good so far. They had to kind of like do a little bit of backtracking. This is bad though. Oh, but look, they get through it though. They get through it. A couple disengages. Managing that pack very nicely. That was just nearly impeccable run through there and gets to the boss fight so fast. But now we have to see if I'm Exile can manage to get through cleanly as well. Because, if they're going to be starting the fight a little bit after Jiluo, then it could be a bit of a problem for them. It could come down to a death in the Tavakai here.
I feel like their damage is comparable. And 2, there's a lot less positioning that the Mercenary has to do. There's a lot more positioning that you can do if you want to do more face tanking, but it's a much riskier strategy. Honestly, I think Exile's having an incredible run. We're at 2 hours and almost 4 minutes, guys. This is an insane run for a Mercenary. It's not a great run for Huntress, but considering that there's only been 1 rip, I don't know. I think Jiluo should be feeling pretty confident here. Now, that being said, any of these attacks from Tavakai, if they land, they will kill both the Huntress and the Mercenary.
Nice.
So
Exile gets through the zone pretty cleanly there. That's really good. He gets to move into his first phase here, right as Jiluo is just finishing that first phase, which is about as much of a catch-up as he could have hoped for here. So If you can kill that boss just a little bit faster, or, you know, not have a death with while Jilua does.
This is it, the
It's all
finale.
down to the Tavakai fight, which is about as close as we can get it here.
Yeah, phase 1 is
Ready
kind of
for a wild
okay.
finish.
What is happening for Exile?
I do not know. That looked like when you're spamming Warcry, but that was very strange.
He's
What was that
doing
about?
something.
I don't know what happened to him there.
Could it
Jilua
be,
moving into his second phase here. Whirlwind's looking pretty good. The freeze on Tavakai.
There's the big freeze.
Yeah, there's a big damage.
This phase is very dangerous. Not quite as dangerous as the third one, but you can absolutely get one shot by a multitude of attacks. There is no shield to defend you from the rain.
Oh man, this is looking so good for Jilua.
He's doing such a good job at despawning and respawning the Tame Beast, and you can see the Tame Beast actually tanking a lot of the attacks from Tavakai.
Yeah, surprisingly good.
That's phase 3 coming up.
Yeah, we can focus Jilua here, I think. For the final phase here, because everything rides on this. This might be Jilua securing their EXILECON Ultra VIP ticket and place on the main stage at EXILECON.
And it would be crazy too, because this is the first time we've had a Chinese player really overcome the rest of the world in Path of Exile history. We've had many compete in the past, but they've really never been able to win just about any races. To have a Chinese player take over the first qualifier of ExileCon, that's giant. I mean, that's a really big deal for their entire racing scene.
His first Whirlwind's decent, not amazing. Eats a big slam there, though. It's going to cost a little bit of recovery there.
Dodges the explosion. Nicely done.
I'm not seeing any Icicle Rain queuing up. The middle right totem is the Icicle Rain. This is the Moonbeam instead. Nice. Ooh, very nice, very nice. That's big damage. Oh, I think he's got this.
But there's no freeze, no stun now. He has to dodge everything.
The old-fashioned way here.
Wow, not a single spike in the arena. The explosion was just a big DPS window.
Amazing.
Everything was clean.
Exactly what we want. Jilua gets the kill, and EXILE also having a really good run through. So EXILE was ready there to take it, but Jilua secures that victory at 206, maybe 48 or something there. Incredible run from Jilua, securing their slot as one of our 4 EXILECON champions. I'm looking forward to seeing you at EXILECON, Jilua. I've
so cool. Never seen a Tavakai fight like that. Incredible.
Yeah, that was really perfect. Almost nothing went wrong. One little slam,
made it look
and then
easy.
It was fine. Yeah, right. Like this is not a fight that's been easy for people. So many deaths. All right, but we've got EXILE securing hopefully a kill here. Let's see how they can do it. They did get to that 700 breakpoint and is definitely taking advantage of it. That's the Icicle Rain totem right there, I believe. Yep, is not ready with the shield swap.
He's frozen. He has to reset.
He's really bad. He's frozen. He didn't see it in time. Okay, so normally you can see the totem light up and you pause, you go to your passive screen, and then you equip a shield and you block it and it's fine. And then you swap back by pausing again. But didn't see it in time, wasn't ready, eats that Icicle Rain, gets frozen, and a forced reset. So EXILE did not have it, unfortunately. Meanwhile, this is letting Whole New Society take over here as we move into their third phase. This is a lot of damage from Whole New Society. I haven't looked at their gear, but it's looking a little better.
You have to keep in mind, if you die or you reset here, you have to redo everything. Phase 1, phase 2, you have to do everything. It's not just the 2.5 minutes that you're sitting around. It's 2.5 minutes and everything else that you've done before.
It's the worst spot to die. But not Whole New Society's not dying. Takes second place. This is a race that I watch for next week, that's for sure. Whole New Society saying, hey, I'm coming for the next qualifying spot. Meanwhile, Luxian taking down their second phase. EXILE starting their reattempt. Hopefully can secure their kill here. We're going to see Luxian and EXILE's kill through to the end here, so we can get a little bit of idea of the playing field for next week at the very least here.
Yep.
But
and this
very
time,
impressed.
in the previous races, a winner of every class would get a demi, but this time around, it's just one. The number 1 player gets the demi. There's only one winner, in
it's
this
a much
qualifier.
more prestigious demi, isn't it?
Yep.
Not to mention the plane tickets and the Ultra VIP tickets and the place on stage and potential to win some nice prize monies at EXILECON too. It's a big one. It's a big one. Jilu's got to be feeling over the moon right now. And Luxian, showing that they're going to be a contender for next week here as well. Gets that freeze down on Tavakai. Let's see if they can get that third phase out as cleanly as Jilu did. Very solid damage coming out there. Pretty good bounces off that angle that they had. Tavakai's probably a little close to that wall now, but it's a small enough arena that you get the bounce back occasionally, but a lot of those twisters are missing. Still, another freeze, crazy.
Yeah, he was
actually pretty safe. Like, that's crazy. 600 hit points, not even a problem. Like, didn't feel threatened once. See, the wisdom going into this was that the mercenaries would have the safer Tavakai kill. But I had heard that people were having deathless runs and practices on Huntress, and I was like, no way. It's so much squishier. But maybe...
Well, the thing is, too, that this people practice this fight for tens of hours at this stage. Just resetting this fight over and over and over.
Doing the fight again
for
and again.
Months now. So this is one of those fights where you really could never take it for granted in the past. You still can't, as you can see. Exile first having to reset, now getting chunked.
You can do it, Exile.
But maybe... Yeah, him being slightly new to the racing scene is showcasing that, there is still more practice that he has to do. It's not just layouts. The boss fights, they are difficult.
Jilu ultimately secured a 2:06.46. Like he said, we've seen faster practice runs, but practice runs are almost meaningless when it comes to the actual day. The actual day times are nearly always a bit slower. But still, ultimately, that is a new world record for us in this race as well, in the Tavakai kill races. Previously, it was a guy that dies holding that record at like 2:16 or something. So big improvement. 10-minute time save there. Big hit taken by EXILE, but does recover. Plenty of life lost there. Pretty good damage on that first half of this. Dealing with the exploding spikes there. Positioned well. Yeah, so much damage.
Oh, no!
He cursed! It happens again. No, Exile
he decides to die.
Gonna be, we know what Exile's going to be practicing. Yeah, so there's that totem on the top right. It's like the fourth totem along. When that one lights up on that particular arena orientation, you know that icicle rain. But obviously they were down the bottom left, so you can't even see it light up there. So the thing is that ability is so deadly. Obviously, it can result in the freeze there, and that's really bad. But if you can get that shield equipped, and you can do that while paused, so you can do it safely if you know the ability is coming. And if it's the first ability, you get a chance to look at that totem, get that shield equipped, and do that safely. But obviously, we saw Exile get claimed by that, frozen by that, and die there twice, which is really rough for them. So we have a pretty good idea of what they're going to be practicing in the lead up to next week. But we know Exile's a contender for one of the qualifier spots as well. So congrats to Jilu on that astounding Huntress win for the brand new Huntress Twister strategy there. What do you think of that, Rice? Pretty good stuff, mate.
You guys are seeing us because Exile ended up tapping out. And I think a large chunk of that was the psychological damage he withstood, not just in Act 4, but also Act 2. That crossbow was just not up to par. He needed more. The Huntresses, if they don't die, the records, they get crazy. And Jiluo showed us exactly that. It might have not been the under 2-hour PBs that we've seen, but it's still insane.
Exile did actually secure the kill there, despite dying. As long as you get the kill, if you die as well, that's okay. So he actually did take the 4th place there.
Oh, so that's why he actually... Okay, listen, I'm returning all of Exile's honor. He did not give up. The reason why he stood in was because the grenades were killing the boss. Okay, sorry, guys. My bad.
That's it, he got it. It was so close. But still, getting frozen by that icicle rain twice there has definitely got a sting. So he's going to be most likely practicing that. But that was... Did you say that was Exile's first PvP race? I don't remember them doing other ones in the past. Obviously, he's a long-term Path of Exile racer, but
he's been practicing for weeks now, but he hasn't participated in any of the other ones. I think maybe in the first season, he was just messing around, but it wasn't the level of practice that he was putting in this time around. He wants to qualify for both games. But for PoE 1, to say that he's got a fair chance is an understatement. I think he's the favorite for the whole event, if I'm being for real. For PoE 2,
sweeping both.
he's up. He's in the running. He's up there. But Jiluo coming out victorious. And again, it's not just
Huntress proving to be better. This is the first time. I mean, if I'm
Nah, that was
okay, I'll be
too
completely
close.
honest with you guys. We've had races where it was the rest of the world versus the Chinese players. It was always a blowout. It was never close. But for whatever reason, in PoE 2, the Chinese players really stepped up their game. And to have the first place qualifier go to one of them, it's not just a win for the Huntresses, it's a win for the entire community. Amazing job for them. I'm really looking forward to seeing Jiluo at ExileCon. So cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So very exciting. We've got Jiluo locked in, and even more excitingly, I couldn't really call the other 3 slots. We have maybe 6 or 7 contenders that I can think of now, but potentially even more than that. Like, obviously, Angormas had a big upset this race. He is, one that many of us want to see take one of those qualifiers, and certainly with their history in Path of Exile 2 racing deserves it, but I had a really rough race this time. I had 2 early deaths and fell behind massively and wasn't able to get on the stream there for a while. So probably one of the worst runs we've seen from Angormas to date. Maybe like suffering a little bit from that swap to Mercenary that they've had to make after being on Warrior for all previous races in the lead up here. But hopefully Angormas can, come back next week for a big, shot at qualifying. We obviously had the new player Woodish coming out of nowhere and being very close to Home Exile there and catching up quite well. So a lot of potential for them there.
I'm looking at the ladder, and in the past we've had some pretty big differences between players and different classes and whatnot. But man, now it's Jiluo at 2 hours 6 minutes and 46 seconds. We've got Whole New Society, who we really didn't pay. I mean, we looked at him a few times, and he's been somebody who's won races in the past, but he showed up on a Mercenary 2 hours 8 minutes and 27 seconds.
Crazy.
So just a minute and a half behind. Then we've got Luxian, who also we weren't able to track because of how tight the competition was. We have him in the background. We were keeping track of just about the top 10, but it's just constantly shifting, constantly moving. Different approaches, different strategies, but they're going to be able to finish at 3rd. Then we've got Exile at 2 hours 11 minutes 24 seconds, and just 30 seconds behind we've got Woodish, who you might think that's really impressive, but I think what makes it even more impressive is that the 6th place finish that we've got right now is LHD, somebody who we thought might be at rank 1, but here he is at 6th place with 2 hours and 14 minutes and 56 seconds behind Woodish, behind Exile, behind Luxian. These players who we expected to do well, but man, were we expecting them in the top 5?
And
an incredible showing.
Another notable absence here is Guy That Dies is on my list as someone who could definitely take a qualifier, and we didn't even see them in this race. They would already just seen, like, they just weren't able to be in that top kind of 6-ish that we were keeping an eye on.
Where's Guy That Dies?
He's really good. He's
what happened?
Polishing up that mercenary action like crazy. So it was not Guy That Dies race, apparently. Ultimately, died in the last phase of Tavakai and tapped out there as well. So, and that's I watched them do their extra Tavakai practice yesterday as well, because they were trying to really get that down, and that was their predicted spot to die. So maybe had a bit of an upset there with Tavakai, but Guy That Dies is another one to keep an eye on. So we have so many races. It's going to be very exciting next week. That's for sure.
Just to keep it clear, I'm not trying to flame Guy That Dies. I'm trying to showcase that, holy moly, it is tight. It is incredible how many people showed up.
Crazy.
I'm super impressed.
Such a close race. So exciting. So much new stuff. And, next week we're going to see, everyone's stealing each other's ideas and everything. Maybe some secret ideas that were kept in reserve for someone who thought they were going to win this week but didn't. Maybe start to come out as they're like, okay, now it's getting real. I really want to actually secure that qualifier spot. I can't risk it anymore. Not holding anything back. That has been a phenomenal day of racing. We will leave you there, and we'll see you at the same time next week. Thank you very much for casting with your eyes. It was a blast as always, mate. And we will see you fine, folks, next week for another EXILECON Qualifier. It's sure to be an absolute blast like today's was. See you later.